Good afternoon, football fans, and welcome into the Tiger Nation pregame show, where tonight the Bulldogs of Plainview Elgin Millville roll into town to take on our number one state-ranked Stewartville Tigers. I'm Adam Peterson, and I'll be taking you through all the action here, or at least what we can get you prepared for. Let's talk about where we are at and how we got here. First, for the Bulldogs, they come in with a record of 2-3, fresh off a 14-7 win over Red Wing at home last week. In week one, the Bulldogs traveled to Dover Yoda to take on the Eagles in the season opener. They would win this one 22-15 on the back of their running game, where as a team, they had 52 carries for 286 yards. They were led by Aaron Martinez with 16 carries, 96 yards. This game, though, bittersweet for PEM as they took home the win, but lost one of their most dynamic playmakers to a season-ending injury in Nolan Welke, who was the heart and soul of this PEM offense. Last year, Welke, all-district, all-section, he rushed for almost 800 yards, 7 touchdowns to go along with 22 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 pass breakups. Very sad to see such a talented playmaker like Welke out for his senior season. We move on to week 2. PEM was taking on the Lured Eagles, and they actually led, PEM did, 6-0 early in the third quarter after an Aaron Martinez 9-yard touchdown run. The 2-point conversion was no good, though. A heartbreaker for the Bulldogs as Abe Lovely found Max Peterson for a 56-yard touchdown pass late in the fourth quarter, and the extra point was good. The Eagles would win 7-6. The PEM defense was solid all night, only allowed 137 total yards to Lured, and the Bulldog run game again went over 50 carries on the night, 52 rushes, 230 yards. Aaron Martinez led the way, 24 carries, 169 yards. QB Alex Hinrichs had 13 carries for 35 yards, and Aiden Grainer rushed 5 times for 16 yards. They headed into week 3, 1-1. The Bulldogs took on the Lancers of La Crescent, but had turnover issues, losing 3 fumbles. The defense struggled to contain the Lancers, allowing 340 yards, but the PEM offense had 325 yards themselves. Aiden Grader had a 26-yard touchdown run. Alex Hinrichs had 2 touchdown runs, one from 26 yards away, one from 2 yards out. Hinrichs finished his day with 14 carries, 110 yards, and those 2 tutties. Week 4, Lake City was on the field, but it wasn't the same PEM team that we saw the first 3 weeks. The Bulldogs were held scoreless for the first time this season, dropped that game to Lake City 21-0, and more heartbreaking, they lost leading running back Aaron Martinez for the season. Last week, it was homecoming in PEM, and the Bulldogs pulled off the narrow win over Red Wing, 14-7. Alex Bedstead's 27-yard touchdown run was the highlight of that game. 2-3 for Plainview Elgin Millville. And for the Stewartville Tigers, they come into this game looking for win number 20 in a row, dating back to that undefeated season in 2023. You know, for a team that's known for its offensive production over the last decade, it has been the defense, affectionately known as the Gold Rush, that has carried us through the first 5 weeks. Only 12 points have been scored against the starting defense, as they have been incredible. Week 1, we went against our toughest opponent of the year, state-ranked Waseca. I don't believe the Blue Jays have lost again this season since that Week 1 matchup. Waseca took the lead in the first quarter 6-0, but then Stewartville with 24 unanswered points to win this one by 18. We relied on our run game in week 1, 42 carries for 256 yards to just 13 pass attempts. Dylan Scanlon ran 20 times for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Malik Abdi's first significant varsity experience had him go 14 carries for 97 yards and a touchdown. Parker Wangen had 2 interceptions. Isaac Larson had a pick, and to be honest with you, Carson Jansen's interception probably turned the tide for that game in terms of momentum in favor of Stewartville. Again, that final score 24-6. In week number 2, we went on the road to Caston Manorville, a team that has been in the section championship game for the past 5 years in a row, I believe, and the Tigers ran away with this one 48-6, as it was the coming out party for junior quarterback Vince Wellick. Wellick threw for 178 yards and 4 touchdowns, 2 of those to Jace Klug, 1 to Caleb Bancroft, 1 to Wangen. Dylan Scanlon went over the century mark on the ground, 9 carries for 101 yards and a touchdown. Malik Abdi had 73 rush yards and a touchdown. The defense, spectacular, allowing only 82 rush yards to the number 9 ranked team in Class 4A, Caston Manorville. Week number 3, the Tigers went on the road again, putting this one to bed early with 38 points in the second quarter, winning it 51-0. Dylan Scanlon averaged 25 yards a carry as he put up 150 on the ground with a touchdown. Abdi with 6 carries 51 yards, and a touchdown. Vince Wellick threw for another 3 touchdowns, 2 to Parker Wangen and 1 to Mickey Height. Height also had an interception return for a touchdown. The defense held the Cougars to only 75 yards, including 1 1/2 yards per rush. Week number 4 was homecoming, and we had a test in front of us with, at the time, number 7 state-ranked Pine Island. And their terrific defense of Pine Island was led by Blake Schultz, and he was everything that people told us and more. Stewartville would lead 13-0 at half behind a huge Lincoln Doobie forced fumble inside the 10-yard line on the first possession, leading to a Dylan Scanlon rushing touchdown. Then Parker Wangen would catch a touchdown pass from Vince Wellick and then kick 2 field goals for a final score of 19-0. The defense, ridiculous once again, 102 total yards allowed and a donut for the second straight week, 4 interceptions for the Gold Rush. And last week, we went to Lake City to take on a 3-1 team, up 57-0 at half. The starters were put on ice for the second half. 31 points in the first quarter, 26 in the second. It was like a tank rolling over an empty soda can. Stewartville just dominated. Parker Wangen had 4 touchdowns. Stewartville racked up exactly 400 yards of offense. 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns, 1 by Mickey Height, 1 by Dylan Hoot. Malik Abdi was incredible, 3 carries for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was a complete domination by the real Tiger Nation out of Stewartville. That brings us to tonight. PEM 2-3 coming to Schaefer Field with all sorts of injuries. Nolan Welke, Aaron Martinez, Dominic Loya, Damon Corfitz, I believe, is down, just to name a few. Coach Meyer, Aaron Meyer's joining me. He's going to give us the scoop here. Coach Meyer, you got 2 teams here. PEM, you got Stewartville. I had the opportunity to talk to Coach Darren Wingert on Wednesday night, and his team's attitude with all these injuries, next man up. What are your thoughts on PEM, and what will they need to do tonight, shorthanded against a very good Stewartville football team?
Well, it's going to be tough. Obviously, when you're down that many guys, it's always tough. But the one thing PEM will have going for it is they're a scheme-based offense here. They're going to have their power T there in the backfield, and a lot of that is just coming down to hiding the football and seeing if they can break a long run here or sneak a tight end or a running back into the flats for a pass play. So we're going to see what they can do. But that offense, I think they can still move the ball from week to week for the rest of the season here. They'll find ways to put some points on the board. Now tonight, we know Stewartville's defense, their front 7 are about as tough as it gets. So we'll see how they can take care of business. But I like Coach Wingert's plan to just next man up. That's the best thing you can do at this point.
You're exactly right. PEM's offense is built to potentially, if they can put together some first downs, to slow down this game. If the best type of defense is keeping Stewartville's offense off the field, and PEM's offense, the way it's built, 2 tight ends, 3 running backs, power T, a lot of misdirection, a lot of fake handoffs. It's tough to see who has the ball. The Gold Rush will need to be very disciplined. Speaking of which, for as fun as Stewartville's offense has been in the past to watch, it has been our defense that has been the showstopper. I would imagine it will be business as usual for the Tigers tonight. Strong defense. On offense, a mix of run and pass, probably trying to stay balanced, and then playing fast and physical. Your thoughts on what Stewartville will need to do to avoid a huge upset here at home?
Well, I think they just got to buckle down and do what they always do. I think that's kind of Coach Muller and Coach Haynes' philosophy week in and week out, is just take care of our business, and the scoreboard will look fine at the end of the night. So I think stay within themselves. Don't try to do anything superhero-like, and stick together as a team. You'll see that kind of week in and week out from Stewartville, and it's what's made them great for the last 20 games, as you mentioned. And it's if they continue to do that week for week, who knows how big that number of wins in a row could get.
Yeah, Coach Wingert was talking to me, talked about, the tough break that they've had, no pun intended, in terms of all the injuries for PEM. But like you said, next man up, we're going to see a few guys in the backfield that we weren't expecting. Like I said, Nolan Welke, 799 rush yards, 7 touchdowns last season, all district, all section. He goes out in week 1. Aaron Martinez, senior, 5'8", 160 pounds. He steps up, runs for 54 carries, 373 yards, and a touchdown. One of the leading rushers in the district. He goes down in the first half against Lake City. You got Dominic Loya, 6'3", 210 pounds. He's a pulling guard for them. Coach Wingert says, fastest guy on the front line. Sad to see him leave with an injury, especially the way they like to pull their guards and get out in front. Leading running back, pulling a guard, having Hinrichs run behind him on that quarterback follow. So very tough. So who you're going to see for PM? We talked about Hinrichs, 6'2", 170-pound quarterback, very athletic. We don't see him throw the ball as much, but that's not how this PM offense is structured. 72 carries, 278 yards, 5 touchdowns. You and I talked about it. 3 of the 4 top scorers for this game, or for the district, are in this game. 3 from Stewartville, Abdi, Scanlon, and Wangen. And then we also have Hinrichs from PEM. I'd expect maybe some scoring tonight, Coach, with athletes like that on the field.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the stats from the district, it stands out when you're looking at this game to see the 3 Stewartville, I call them studs, I guess. That's what they are, at the top of that list. And then Hinrichs is showing 5 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns this season. He's been getting in the end zone with that offense, despite the injuries that they've suffered. So it should be exciting. I'm excited to see how PEM attacks this Stewartville defense, and if they can hold up against a much different style that the Tigers will throw at the PEM Bulldogs.
So here's the thing with PEM's defense, and Coach Darren Winger from PEM, defensive coordinator, that's his baby. That's how he brought up, now head coach for the Bulldogs. They generally would run a 4-4, or 75% of the time last week ran a 4-4. It could run a 4-3. I would imagine Stewartville sometimes runs 4 guys out in the boundary area, sometimes that tight trips formation with one on the other side. So with that many playmakers on the field, do you think PEM is going to shift and bring out more defensive backs, or do you think they're going to make the linebackers have to get out in space and cover, which isn't a bad idea, because when you look at their linebackers, it's Hinrichs, it's Dietrich, who's a running back, Aiden Grainer, who's fantastic. They have the capability to do it. Do you just stick with your studs?
Yeah. You know, I think you could go either way on this, and here's why. Is you can look at your opponent, the Stewartville Tigers, who might have 4 wide often, or at least we see the tight bunch set, we see the motion, we see them shifting in and out of things. But a lot of times, I mean, you can try to match that, or you might just say, who are our best 11 defensive players, and let's find how we can put them on the field to make us as good as we can be tonight. And I guess that's the approach that I would probably take. If that means they get a 4-4 look, then from there they're going to have to scheme. Are they playing more man coverage? Or are they going to just play a cover 3? There's things you can do in any formation, defensive formation that they get into. But yeah, I just think when you're stricken with injuries and you know you got a tough team in front of you, I would put my best 11 out there if I was coach.
I think one last thing before we send it to break and let the national anthem play. Something to keep an eye on here tonight. Currently, Josh Burai holds the career scoring record for Stewartville. He racked up 358 total points during his 3-year career for the Tigers as one of the most prolific running backs ever to come through Tiger Nation. But one Parker Wangen sits at 352 points currently, so 6 points to tie the record, 7 to break it. We will see if Coach Muller and the Tiger offense can get him in the end zone tonight. You're talking about a guy that already set the career touchdown receptions mark last season as just a junior with 22, now at 29 and counting. He is one of our best safeties. I think he leads the team in interceptions. He's our punter. He's our kicker. The guy put one through the uprights against Waseca that would have been good from over 50. What can he do, Coach? How special of a player is Parker Wangen?
Yeah, I've enjoyed watching him, and certainly over the last couple of years, he's put on an absolute show in so many different ways. Right now, some of my favorite stuff is when they get into extra point and 2-point conversion territory, all the different ways that they're using him and all the different things that he does when he's back there as a kicker, but he might be a running back. He might end up being the receiver on those plays. It's just a lot of fun for me to see the creativity in which the coaching staff is using Parker to not only get him points, which he's done a ton of, but just use him in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and sometimes, like we saw in the Cass and Manorville game, he's also sometimes so heavily focused on by the defense, he opens up a big game for Jace Klug, Caleb Bancroft. So Parker Wangen, the ultimate teammate, sometimes drawing the extra coverage, opens things up, and Vince Wellick was able to take advantage of that against the Comets. It's been nice to see him lately, Wangen, getting in the end zone a little bit more. He'll go for touchdown number 30 in terms of catching tonight.
Yeah, he'll have a good shot tonight. I think they're going to definitely try to get him the ball in different ways, and we'll see if it happens. I hope it does. He's an awesome student athlete. All Stewartville fans should just know that he's a good kid and fun to cheer for. So we'll see what happens tonight.
So you're going to see the Stewartville Tiger football team, the defending state champions for 3A, take the field. Coach Aaron Meyer and myself, Adam Peterson, are going to step aside. We're going to let the national anthem play, and then we'll be back to bring you this Week 6 Southeast Red District matchup between the PEM Bulldogs and the Stewartville Tigers. We'll catch you in about 10 minutes. Good evening, football fans, and welcome to Schaefer Field here in Stewartville, Minnesota, as the Tigers return home after 2 weeks away to take on the PEM Bulldogs. We are live from the Dan Simmons broadcast booth. I'm Adam Peterson, and as always, my partner in crime for tonight, state champion track coach, two-time section champion football coach, Aaron Meyer. Coach, Stewartville coming in ranked number 1 in the state of Minnesota for Class 3A on a 19-game win streak, taking on a PEM team that is dealing with its fair share of injuries. But we know Coach Wingert will have his Bulldogs ready to go. What are you most looking forward to tonight in this Week 6 matchup?
Well, as always, I like watching the trenches, so I want to see how the offensive and defensive lines of both teams kind of get after each other early on here. I was just commenting to you about how I like the size of PEM. They got a center that's just monstrous out there, so it's going to be fun to see how he holds his own out there. And we know the Stewartville Tigers have a great front seven on defense and a offensive line that's been doing a great job all year. So I want to watch the trenches as always, Adam.
Absolutely, and while you're watching the trenches, I'm going to be watching the playmakers. Coach Dylan Scanlon has been fantastic this year. I thought Malik Abdi, our other running back, probably had his best game last week. The way that he was setting up blocks, 3 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? And then the guy that everybody's talking about, Parker Wangen. He's the real deal. He's 6 points away from tying the school all-time scoring record here in Stewartville with Josh Burai, 7 points from breaking it. It's something that we'll have to keep an eye on. For PEM, you're talking about a guy named Alex Hinrichs, a dynamic playmaker for a quarterback, 6'2", 170 pounds. He was actually on, as a freshman, the 2021 team that went to state. He was on the roster. I believe there was another guy that Coach was telling me about. But a couple of these guys have that experience of that success. And I'll tell you, Coach, you know as well as I do, PEM tends to play us tough, especially here at home.
Yeah, they've always been so tough and just come at you in waves. And even when you think they're down, they get back up and start, swinging again. So it's always a good battle when these two teams get after it.
How about this? We have Parker Wong and Dylan Hoot deep. Generally, it's Scanlon and Hoot. You wonder if they're going to try to get Wangen on the board right away. We've seen some electric plays before. They hit that one short, though. Zeke Spencer, he doesn't care if it's kickoff or kickoff return. He's going to hit somebody, Coach.
Yeah, I think he saw his wall and said, no, I got this, guys. I'm just going to go straight ahead and see what I can get.
So here comes the Stewartville offense, hotter than the grease that the Down Under fries our cheese curds with, Coach. They have been fantastic. 57 points in 2 quarters last week. You're going to see a junior quarterback. Week 1 against Waseca, his palms were sweaty, his knees weak, arms are heavy. There was vomit on his sweater already, mom spaghetti. He was nervous, but on the surface, he was calm and ready, and now he's ready to drop bombs to Klug and Wong, and those are your 2 wide receivers. I'm talking about junior quarterback Vince Wellick, darn near perfect last week. 9 of 10, 167 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? Vince Wellick has really come into his own since that Castle Manderville game in week 2. He's back there. He's going to hand that one off to Scanlon on the left side. Good job by PEM to tackle him right at the line of scrimmage. I don't think he picks up any, as it's going to be 2nd down and 10. We see that bunch formation quite a bit from Stewartville. Sometimes they run the stretch play. In that particular instance, they came back on the counter.
Yeah, it's definitely Coach Muller's favorite formation. I love it because he can go stretch, he can go counter, and they just have so many neat little passing combinations out of it as well.
He moves Hoot to the near side. Wellick does. Behind him is Scanlon. Oh, a little jump from our right side as we're going to get 5. So it's going to be 2nd down and 15. Not the start that Stewartville wants. So in terms of personnel, we got our big cats, the usual suspects out there. You got Ridge Hats at left tackle, Lunas at left guard, Riggin at center, Lincoln Doobie and Potts on the right side. On the far side for skill positions, our wide receiver all alone, Parker Wangen, Bancroft at the slot, big tight end, and then Jace Klug on the near side, Wellick and Scanlon in the backfield. We'll see what Coach Muller does on 2nd and 15 here on the first drive of the game. Wellick's going to air that one out, and Wangen had a step. Wellick underthrew him by about 2 yards. Wangen tries to adjust his route to come back for it, was unable to do it. It's now 3rd down and 15. You saw the safety start coming over the top to try to help with Wangen. I would imagine that's one of the things PEM has to do tonight, stop Wangen.
Yeah, and just kind of watching that PEM defense communicating, talking to each other. They obviously have their game plan that they want to run here, and they're trying to get dialed in. We talked if they were going to be in a 4-3 or a 4-4. It looks like a 4-4 setup, but the line outside backers look like they're going to float around a little bit more than they maybe normally would.
So we got 3 wide receivers on the near side. Scanlon on the far side goes in motion. They fake the jet sweep. They throw a little screen there for Jace Klug, and he's got blockers out in front of him. He cuts it back. He's across the 50. He's got Wangen blocking for him. He hits the sideline. Hoots looking for somebody to block. Lincoln Doobie, look at that! And they get him in the end zone. Are you kidding me? 3rd and 14, and they go 68 yards for a touchdown. Incredible. Jace Klug did the old Henry Cheddar. Oh. They're bringing it back, Coach. I got to give Lincoln Doobie credit for running all the way downfield and setting the last block for Jace Klug.
Was he setting the back block?
Yes.
That's what
Yeah,
I was
the old
wondering. I
Alan
couldn't tell
May.
the number on it, but that is amazing that he was the one down there doing that. Pretty impressive.
So, Coach, you got all excited for nothing. They're going to bring this one back. 10:46 to go.
well,
Still
I was
scoreless.
looking for flags the entire way down to the sidelines here and didn't see a single one. I didn't see there was
Luckily,
one
our
10 yards.
top-notch cameraman and spotter, Todd Lechtenberg, was able to see it and try to cut me off as I'm screaming. Welcome to the booth, Todd. You should have wore earplugs, Coach.
Still, even despite the hole,
Oh.
you just have to love Jace Klug's ability to find where the green grass was. He's going all the way right across the field and stops on a dime, comes back, spins left, and like you mentioned, just some amazing blocks to help him there.
That was the screen pass that Henry Cheddar made famous
Yes,
the last couple
yep.
of years. Jace Klug got it in his hands, and you saw he's a dynamic playmaker himself. You talk
Yeah.
about Wangen. Well, Klug had 2 touchdowns against Casamandeville, and right there he went 68 yards. I can't believe they haven't given him a rest break here.
Yeah, no, that was amazing.
So now we got 3 wide receivers on the near side. Wellick rolls out to his left. He's trying to buy time. He gets it to Klug, who only gets to about the 38-yard line. That's going to make it 4th down and 7, and I would imagine Stewartville's going to punt this one away. It's in their own territory. And here they come out, Coach.
Coach always has a hard time saying punt. he would go for this, if he had seen a few more plays. And I mean, I just feel like even though they're on their own side.
Well, on the podcast last week, we were talking about the St. Charles where he was at his
Yes.
30-yard line.
Yeah.
And it was 4th down at about 6 or 7, and he called a fake punt. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
put it past him here, especially with an athlete like Wong in there, and you got Malik Abdi as his personal protector. Talk about 2 dynamic playmakers. They do it. Inside handoff to Scanlon. He's got the big cats out in front. He cuts it outside. He's going to try to hit the sideline. What a big play! We talked about it, Coach. You want a gambler? You're not talking about Kenny Rogers. You're talking about Garrett Muller, and he just rolled the dice, and it paid off big time. Now he's throwing a hat. These refs are calling back all our big plays. That's surprising with the hat because nobody was near him.
It must have been a sideline infraction, which is all I can think about. Maybe there were some words being yelled.
There are 2 penalties on the play, both on the offense. Bulldogs, offense number 19. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spatter flag, and replay 4th down. After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Stewartville coaching staff. It's a 15.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know if you can hear the crowd noise through the iPad because all of our audio usually runs through we'll get you caught up. 10-yard penalty on the play on Stewartville for holding. The hat was thrown because the ref called unsportsmanlike conduct on the Stewartville coaching staff. That'll be an additional 15 yards, and that'll back Stewartville up to 4th down and a mile, and I would imagine you'd see Wangen punt this one away. I know Coach Muller's a gambler. You're not looking for old snake eyes here on the roll, though.
I don't think you will see another fake punt in this situation, no. But once again, well executed. When you set those plays up, you just hope you run them right, and they did. So put it in the back pocket for another week.
So Wangen back with 10:21 to go in the first quarter. Stewartville, after 2 huge plays, one being a touchdown and then that fake punt, both called back on penalties. It's now going to be PEM ball for the first time tonight at their own 39-yard line as Wangen tries to flip the field. 10:08 to go in the first quarter. I'm Adam Peterson here with Coach Aaron Meyer. Uncharacteristic first drive there. How many penalties was that? 5?
I mean, there were several penalties
Yes.
there. I have to say, I told you I'm going to be watching the trenches, and it's always hard to see a hold from from the sideline box here, but that's one where I will be curious to watch the old end zone shot. That's usually where you can get the best view of holds and who's getting a little grabby out there.
So now you'll see PEM come to the, in that old 32 personnel, 3 running backs, 2 tight ends, really tight there. They're going to run power to the left side, 21, Aiden Grainer on the carry, and the Stewartville defense shuts it down. They're still going to give Grainer 1 yard on the pickup for his forward progress, but Stewartville drives him back. You talked about some big offensive linemen. 79 is a large individual. Carson Hines, he's just a junior. He's at center, I believe. 72 is out there. Drew Raymond, I believe. Braden Hines, 67, if I'm not mistaken. They're 3 running backs. Logan Dietrich, Nolan Ford switched from line to running back with all the injuries. And then Aiden Grainer, number 21. Grainer, I think, is one of their best defensive players. You see him on the near side right now. It looks like, is it Bedstad, I believe, is split out wide. Here comes number 1 on the out. Mickey Height was right on him. 1 is Logan Dietrich.
So right away, PEM goes into, I guess I'll call it their bag of tricks, but it's not very often that you're going to see a wide receiver split out. Well, actually just flex the tight end out, but a wide receiver in general, and then they motion the back out there and try to throw a little bubble screen to him, something I have yet to see on film from him.
Now 3rd down and 8. Henrichs under center with 2 tight ends tight to the line of scrimmage. He's got his 3 running backs. They're going to run a trap right up the middle, which they were very successful with last week against Red Wing, and he picks up about 7 or 8. It puts it 4th and 1 close to midfield, and you wonder, with the opportunities maybe slim with this defense and the way our offense can score, you would think Coach Wingert probably going to go for this.
Yeah, and I just feel like PEM, whenever they have a 1 or, a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, I just feel like that's kind of what their offense is built upon, is we can always get 2.
Look for that trap. They were very successful the last couple games using that, just straight up the middle. That's Nolan Ford, and it looks like PEM's going to call a timeout to talk this one over.
It was definitely their best play last week, right, against Red Wing.
Yeah.
They were hitting that little quick fullback trap right up the middle for 7, 8, 9 yards constantly, and there they got it right there on the 2nd or 3rd run of the game.
I would say that trap, and then probably a second, maybe a little distant second, but a second place would be their quarterback follow. What they do is they take the play side running back in that power T. Play side running back seals the defensive end. The far side running back will come around like he's on a sweep, but actually lead block with a pulling guard, and there'll be 2 guys out in front of Henrichs who follows them, and because he's so athletic, sometimes he'll follow him to the outside, sometimes he'll cut it up. So either the trap or that quarterback follow, to me, watching the last couple games from PEM, that's where Coach Wingert could go.
I couldn't agree more. I think those are probably your 2 best plays, and why not go for pick one of those 2 in a pressure situation here
You
early
can see
on.
Coach Hain putting the gold rush, Zeke Spencer, Justice Dino right up the middle in the A-gap. It's going to be that quarterback follow I just talked about, and there's Henrichs picking it up on a 4-yard carry to the outside. They had that far side running back lead, the pulling guard, and then Henrichs does the rest, sees where the sticks are, and knows I don't need to make a 50-yard run. I need a 2-yard run.
Yeah, did a great job by the offensive line and the lead blockers doing exactly what they needed to do. They're just going to keep doing that. 3-4 yards here and there. That's for PEM. That's all they're looking for every snap.
8:41 in the first quarter. It's scoreless. Stewartville punted away after a slew of penalties. Now Plainview Elgin Millville with its first down of the drive. That's a trap up the middle again, and he's met there by Zeke Spencer, but he does pick up about 3 yards. And Coach, that's what you get. All you can ask for. 3. If you're going to go for it on 4th down in this territory, 3-4 yards is plenty per play.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is staying ahead of the chain. So they're looking for literally, if they can run the ball 4 times and get 3 yards a pop, that's a first down. And that's kind of how they look at it. Where they fall behind the chains when it's 2nd and 9 or 3rd and 8, that's where they kind of run into issues trying to figure out what do we like here.
And we have an outstanding defensive line. You got Bancroft and Grayson Schneider on either end, and then you got Ridge Hatz and Lincoln Doobie generally in the middle. Carson Goodman has been rotating in there as well. I see we have 5 down linemen, so probably everybody I just named. As we have one go in motion, they're going to keep that one. Ooh, good pump out block there by Grainer on height. Allows Henrichs to kind of cut up field and pick up another 3 yards. It's now going to be 3rd down and a long 4, we'll say. 7:38 to go in the first.
So whenever teams play against unique offenses like what we're seeing here, or when we play against Castle Manorville, I always feel like the first drive of the game is the most difficult because you can't simulate the offense in practice as well as they can run it on Friday night. Yeah. So we'll see if they can keep getting first downs like they're doing. They're doing a tremendous job, but I think as the game wears on, the defense will figure it out.
They're going to give that one right up the middle to Ford, but and wow, give them credit for the push they got. It looked like Hatz and Doobie were able to bring some pressure up the middle, but Ford just powers his way through to another first down. And we talked about this. The PEM offense is built to potentially slow down the Stewartville offense just by the fact of keeping possession longer. Slow, methodical drives, keep moving the sticks. And that's something Coach Wingeter and I talked about on our phone call Wednesday night. He said if we can get first downs and stack those on top of each other, that's going to build some confidence and hopefully shorten the game essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about momentum a lot, the two of us, when we talk about how these games can swing. Every first down they get is
counter
momentum.
Play there to the left side. Bancroft tries to hold the edge. Around comes. We'll get you a number on that. It looked like Light. No, it was Luke Eastman. My fault. Number 12 on the tackle. Second down and 8 as Grainer picked up 2. That's the tough part is you have to be focused. You have to be disciplined because they do that so much motion. It looks like a power off one side, and then they just ran Grainer off the counter on the other side. Know your responsibilities. They're going to do the quarterback follow. Good job by Mickey Height to set the edge. And boy, Grayson Schneider ran him down from behind, but flags all over the field. Two flags were thrown at the same time. Holding on the offense. That penalty's declined because they'll take not only the loss of down, but the loss of yards. So it's going to be third down and about 11 or 12, Coach. What a play by Grayson Schneider.
Yeah, used his speed and strength and just chased it down. Tremendous play.
So 5:55 left in the first quarter. It is third down and 12 for PEM. And you wonder if they'll go to the air here. I don't see anybody split out wide. So you wonder if they'll try that quarterback follow to the field side, which is the far side, to give them some space. It's going to be a counter to Grainer again. And Grayson Schneider is one of the best defensive ends in the entire state, and he shows it there. You can't get around number 7. And that's a big play. It's now fourth down and 13, and I don't know if Coach Wingert's going to want to gamble.
Yeah, with it being 4th and 12 here, they may just play field position and try to pooch it down there, which it looks like what they're going to do. I was curious to see if PEM would run away from Grayson throughout the night, and certainly he showed that even if you try, he's going to catch you from behind. But he's been flip-flopping to the wide side of the field at times too, so a little cat and mouse game going there with where number 7 is on defense.
So PEM, I don't have a number, back to punt. Number 9, I believe that's Bedstad. It's going to bounce into the end zone, and Hoot's going to let that one go for a touchback. And the Tigers will start this one at their own 20-yard line. 4:46 to go in the first quarter, scoreless, as each team went first drive without getting any points on the board. Different look, though, for each first drive. Stewartville had some tremendous plays. You know, Coach Meyer went off the tables for a couple of those. They got called back on penalties. We ended up punting. PEM methodically, a couple first downs, built it, got into Stewartville territory, but then you saw the holding penalty, the 2 big plays by Grayson Schneider, put them back for 4th and long. They needed to punt. So now the second drive for Stewartville, still scoreless, 4:46 to go in the first quarter. We'll be calling out the scores and times quite a bit because unlike the huddle camera, we don't have the scoreboard on ours, and that's okay because it's pretty bright when you try to shine our camera on it. It's already dark here in Tiger Nation as Vince Wellick is going to move everybody around. Potts comes over, so now we got Potts and Hatz on the near side with 3 wide receivers to block for Malik Abdi, who comes out. Malik Abdi shifts his hips. He's going to cut back. He's got guys out in front of him. He must have missed about 3 or 4 tackles the way just cutting back and forth. Dunking in, dunking out there, Coach.
Yeah, you mentioned how well he followed his blocks against Lake City. Some of those dip-in, dip-outs against Lake City were amazing. He went down the sidelines for I don't know, would you say 40-yard touchdown
Yeah.
on the one that I'm thinking of? But yeah, his vision is incredible, and he's just gotten better and better as the year wears on.
His second touchdown was probably my favorite. Up front for PEM, Drew Raymond on the far side. Then I believe it's Ben Sanders. Yes, it is Ben Sanders. Then we got number 6, Logan Peterson on the near side. And in the middle, number 76, we'll get you that, Luis Sandoval. And that's a reverse to Wangan, but it pops up, and PEM gets the fumble recovery on a little bit of a trick play. That ball, I believe, was recovered by the aforementioned Sandoval.
Yeah, great awareness to bust into the backfield and then see the reverse coming, and he was aware enough to blow up the play and get the ball.
It could not be a better start for the PEM Bulldogs, scoreless with just under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Stewartville just got one play on that drive and turned it over.
Yeah, they're playing great. The Bulldogs right now got to be feeling really good. The momentum is definitely on their side, and if they can go down and get a few more first downs here, well, they need, 35 yards here, and they'll be on the board.
Yeah, Stewartville has to figure out this PEM offense. They're having trouble with it already as PEM's been picking up a lot of positive yards. They're going to fake that. They're going to the air. They got it right down the middle. That one is to number 1, Logan Dietrich. Coach Muller talked about it on his show this last week that they run the ball, and you can't get caught looking into the backfield. And I don't know if that's what happened because they ran somebody right to the middle of the field, and he was wide open. I believe if that ball wasn't thrown on his back shoulder and it's in stride, he's probably going for 6.
Yeah, I think you're right. He did have a step on our linebackers and safety in the middle there. Usually a lot of their routes are going to the sideline or the corner, but right up the middle there for a great
that
play
one
for them.
forward up the middle. And he stopped as Justice Dino comes flying in with the help of Zeke Spencer. It looks like Coach Hain was just shooting the A-gap.
Well, we know that Coach Hain and the defense, the Gold Rush, is so proud of keeping that scoreboard clean. And so right now, I can guarantee you all those guys are digging in right now and doing it for each other. They want so badly to keep them out here.
They got 2 words on their mind, Coach, and it's Darlin Bakery.
Uh-huh.
And they don't want to leave that go this early. We got 5 up front. Schneider. 51 is Carson Goodman. Doobie, Hats. They're going to do the quarterback follow to the outside. We're trying to string it out. Here comes the cavalry. Hinrichs tries to get to the edge, but I think he does pick up still another 2 or 3 yards after losing a yard on the first play. Now it's 3rd down and goal from, we'll see where they spot it. I believe it's at about the 3. Yeah, the 3-yard line. So 3rd and goal from the 3, Coach.
Been really impressed with their lead blocking early on. You talked about Bancroft and Schneider and how just physical and tough they are at the edges, but these running backs and lead blockers are getting on them and running their feet, doing a great job staying engaged.
I would imagine that potentially that trap play to Ford or a counter. That counter was open in the first drive. There he sends Dietrich in motion. They're going to throw this one. He throws it up. Oh! Almost picked off. Luke Eastman got his hand on it,
Yes.
just over the outstretched hand of Eastman, and Wangan was coming over to help.
Well, that ball was up there for way too long for a 4 or 5 yard pass.
4th down and 4. Are they going to just try to put points on the board here, Coach?
It looks like with the personnel change, we may get a field goal attempt.
Okay, so if we do the math, it's a 20-yard field goal. The holder will be Hinrichs. Hines will snap.
We're going to get a timeout here or delay a game. They used their timeout.
Michael Elias is their kicker. He was setting up. Do you think they'll stick with it?
Yeah.
Or do you think they're...
I was just
second
thinking
guessing,
here
like,
to
we want a
myself, I was
touchdown.
thinking, like, here you are, you're on the road, you're playing amazing football
Yeah.
in the first quarter, and I just don't know that 3 would, is going to do it at the end of the night. But I'm not going to question what they think is best, but I just feel like, gosh, if you can get those 3 yards, you'd just be feeling on top of the world. I think I would go for it.
So 4th down and goal, 2:32 to go in the first quarter. It's scoreless, but we'll see if PEM can change that, whether it be for 3 or for 6. I don't know if you're going to go for it on 4th down or even had the thought of going for it. I don't know on 3rd down why you don't run a trap and maybe get it,
True.
within a yard or two so it opens up your playbook.
So here's the thing, and I don't know if this rule has changed, but I also think if you kick the field goal and miss and the ball goes through the end zone, I think the ball comes out to the 20. It's like a touchback,
Okay.
basically.
Well,
so
they're
we'll
going
see if
for
that,
it, Coach.
No, they changed their mind, so there we go.
They got their 3 running backs. Hinrichs under center. He sends Dietrich in motion to the right side. Oh, fumbled snap! And I don't know who has it, but there's all sorts of pushing and shoving, and that's going to be a huge 4th down stop for the Gold Rush, really on the backs of some fortunate luck as Hinrichs bobbled the snap coming out from under center.
Well, and that's a huge momentum shift. We just talked about they could be feeling on top of the world if they would have put that in, and now fumbling that snap and not even getting a great playoff. They're just going to feel a little bit down, and Stewartville, on the other hand, gets to keep that 0 on the board, and they're feeling great.
But I think if you look at this right now, Bulldogs easily winning the first quarter, even though it's scoreless with 2:25 to go in the first quarter. PEM has been all the rage here through the first 10 minutes. The crazy thing is, I know we're at about the 5-yard line, but if you put it in the hands of Dylan Scanlon, he could outrun anybody 95 yards. We'll see what happens. He comes to the outside here. He's got blockers out in front of him. Klug trying to set there. He stays in, Scanlon does, as he cuts it back to about the 24-yard line, and he picks up 19 on the carry. You're talking about a guy that a couple weeks ago was averaging 25 yards a carry against the Cougars of Zimbrota-Mazeppa. Stewartville going to their NASCAR package here, Coach. They want to hurry this thing up. They're going to hand that one off to Scanlon on the other side. You got to pull in Lunas out in front of him, and there's Scanlon for another 13 yards. Big chunk plays here through the first 25 seconds of this drive. Here comes Abdi to spell Scanlon, and you don't get a drop-off. When Dylan Scanlon comes off, Malik Abdi is just as good, Coach.
Yeah, and there's just as much speed there. They're both just lightning fast, good vision.
Bunch left, Wangen on the far side. They're going to give that one off to Abdi on this side. Here comes Lincoln Doobie. He's going to try to seal that block. He does, and now Abdi on the sideline breaks through one tackler, cuts it back. Lincoln Doobie's going to hold that guy off, and Malik Abdi from 74 yards away. No, I did the math wrong. What a run, though. I've never seen so many flags in one quarter. We're going to see what this one is. Wellick's coming to the sideline, though, like it's going to be okay. What a run by Malik Abdi. He broke through the tackle and then cut it back as Dietrich couldn't make the tackle on the sideline, and there he went the rest of the way.
Yeah, great job by the blockers out there to just stick with it, stay engaged, and Malik showed his amazing balance and speed there on the sideline.
How about that for a NASCAR package, Coach? 50 seconds, 3 runs. It spanned 95 yards
Yeah,
and a touchdown.
When we think of NASCAR, I think we're a lot of times thinking of a hurry up, throw the ball around, and it's 3 runs and you're in the end zone.
And give a whole bunch of credit to those big cats that were pulling. And here's that crazy formation that they come out with. Another unsportsmanlike conduct on one of our offensive players. PEM has elected to take that on the kickoff. Is that what they said, on the kickoff?
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to go for 2 here. You might want to drop them back. So Zeke Spencer at center. You got Wangen behind him. Jace Klug in the slot position. He's going to take the snap. He throws it out to Grayson Schneider through his hands, as that's going to be incomplete, and the Tigers put up 6. And we got another flag on the play. Too many players in the backfield was the call. Obviously, PEM will decline it. Nobody wants to give you another shot at 2-point conversion.
No.
As Stewartville, on 3 straight running plays, goes 95 yards, Coach. 2 by Dylan Scanlon, a huge run by Malik Abdi. I couldn't do the math fast enough in my head because the down markers were already moving, but it was a big run and a good one there by Malik Abdi. Now 3 touchdowns in essentially his last 5 carries.
Yeah, and big, long runs as well. So he's got to be feeling good about every time he touches the ball. He's got to feel like this is easy, which it certainly is not. Just kind of a strange feel to the game with all the flags and just kind of the momentum shifts back and forth. Just, I don't know. There's just something odd about how this game is starting out here that just feels a little unsettling.
That had to be like, what, a 6, now that we're trying to reflect on it, what, 65 yards about,
I think it was about 60 yards. I think he was about at the 40 or the 45-yard line, maybe 55 yards.
We're going to say just 60 plus.
There
How
you
about
go.
that? Not that any stats we give you up here are official. So Wangen will kick this one away. Stewartville up 6-0, 1:32 to go in the first quarter. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And that's a high kick. Bobbled. And Light almost picked it up.
Well, pretty good kick there to get it all the way down to the 20-yard line. And the bobble's going to put an end to it right there. So PEM, despite taking the penalty on the kickoff, is going to have a long road to hoe here to put points on the board here and strike back.
If anybody wants the scoreboard or wants just a regular pan camera, you can go to huddle.com, huddlefan.com, find it there if you want. We chose to go to the iPad broadcast because there were too many commercials in week 1 against Wasika, and we don't want to cut any of the action here, nor when we talk about the teams or the players or even at halftime. We don't want to cut any of those opportunities to shine a spotlight on some amazing student athletes beyond the gridiron here in football. So for all the people that are complaining on YouTube, feel free to go to Huddle and, check out that camera if you'd like. We are happy with this broadcast. We've been doing it for a long time, 10 years up here in the booth, the Dan Simmons broadcast booth, and we just look to provide you the best opportunity we can. You talk about getting multiple cameras. Feel free to reach out to Kurt Hughes and send in a donation if you'd like. Always willing to take those, as PEM's now second down and 7 yards to go, as they'll try to establish that strong run game that's helped them out the first 2 drives. And there's Justice Dino flying into the backfield from his linebacker spot and taking the ball carrier down for what looked like a 2-yard loss. It'll be 3rd down and about a long 8.
Great play by Justice Dino there, finding the window, running through it, and making the tackle. He's been solid all season long. I feel like we don't give him enough credit at times for all the little things he's doing correctly.
The camera is a little bit shaky because of the fans jumping on the bleachers, and that's one of the positions on our tripod for all you people, again, complaining. Appreciate that. To be able to get the 20-yard lines and towards the end zones on each side, we have to put the iPad further out in the window. And to do that, we need the tripod there. 3rd down and 8. They're going to pass this one. There's Lincoln Doobie. He gets a hold of him, and Grayson Schneider helps bring him down. But Lincoln Doobie is the first one to get back there. The ref is blowing the whistle dead. Oh, end of quarter. End of the first quarter. As Stewartville leads this one 6-0. Coach Meyer and I are going to step away for just a moment, and we will bring you a second quarter action here in just a little bit. PEM's going to punt this one away to start the second quarter. Stewartville up 6-0. Good punt there. Who's going to field it? And that was dangerous as they had a Bulldog defender right in his face. If that would have bounced and hit him, that could have been the second big turnover for Stewartville to PEM. But Stewartville's going to start out on their own 32-yard line. Coach, hopefully we'll see a second quarter like we saw against Broda Mazeppa. You know, the first quarter is Broda Mazeppa, nothing was really clicking, then all of a sudden 38 points before you blinked an eye.
Yeah, it was a little choppy that game as well. So, well, we know this team can score in bunches. I wasn't able to make it up to Lake City last week, and by the time I turned the feed on, there were 50 points on the board. So it doesn't take long, and this team can put up a bundle.
So Wellick in the backfield. He's got two guys next to him, but they, like I said, usually they switch up their formation. Hatz comes to the near side. Mickey Height is that H-backs. Now Klug and Wangen on the near side, split out wide. They're going to hand that one off to Dylan Scanlon. He's going to bounce that outside, but Hinrichs measures him up. Great open field tackle there by the senior linebacker and quarterback, Hinrichs. Scanlon picks up about 4.
And with the running game working like it is, Coach Muller might just stick with it as this quarter continues on. But I do know he'll want to get Parker Wangen involved. We've seen Jace Klug make some nice plays, so he's got a lot of weapons there to pick from. 2nd
down and 6. So just coming up on the 11-minute mark in the second quarter. A handoff to Scanlon left side, but he cuts it back up the middle. Lunas just hit somebody. So did Bancroft. And now Scanlon makes a guy miss, tries to stay on his feet. But Bedstead gets the tackle not before Scanlon gets across midfield, and another Stewartville Tiger first down as they continue to move the ball on the ground, Coach. Last drive, 95 yards on 3 carries. Now you're seeing it again, Scanlon, 2 straight plays.
Yeah, the offensive line is doing a great job of being physical up front. The blockers on the outside are just phenomenal right now. And we talked about how explosive Scanlon and Abdi are at this point in their seasons. It's pretty explosive offense to watch.
So Wellick in the backfield. He sends Wangen in motion. They're going to give it to him on the jet sweep. He's got Scanlon and Doobie out in front of him. He's got blockers like Mickey Height. And there goes Wangen. He's fast in the open field as well. Can he get through that tackler? He doesn't. He's dropped at about the 15-yard line, maybe 12-yard line of PEM. We got all sorts of glare on this window from the lights, but that's okay. Because we get into the red zone, Coach, right at the 15-yard line. And they go right back to the line. It seems like this tempo is fitting Stewartville's run game a little bit better. It doesn't allow PEM to adjust and also maybe gets the defense a little tired out with Stewartville's speed.
Yeah, and just simple play calls versus we saw the reverse that went for a turnover. And, yeah, I think sometimes just going fast and keeping it simple, these guys just do what they're good at.
There's the snap. They're going to hand it off to Scanlon, off right tackle. Good block there by Mickey Height. And Scanlon gets down to about the 8-yard line. Dietrich is on the tackle. And it'll be 2nd down and about 3. You also see them going quite a bit to the wide side, Coach, just using their speed, plenty of field to work with. When we talk about field side versus boundary side is the short side of the field, which would be on the right side now. Field side is to the left, and that's where Jace Klug is split out. You wonder if they'll take a shot to Wangen here, try to get him that touchdown. There's the fake. Here comes across. Caleb Bancroft was wide open. He chose to pitch to Mickey Height. Did Height get in? The near side referee threw a flag. There's no signal on a touchdown. No, they're going to call him short. Bancroft wide open in the end zone. Oh, a fumble through the end zone, which will be a touchback and PEM ball. Tough break there for Stewartville on what almost surely was going to be a touchdown at some point. And they pick up the flag. I think he was trying to throw his beanbag for a fumble.
He was too, yep.
And he just grabbed his flag.
Yep. Well, you could see right away that the Plainview Elgin Millville players were pointing as if there was a fumble. And with it going past the pylon into the end zone, that's going to be PEM's ball and come back to the 20.
So tough break. I really hate that rule, by the
Yeah,
way.
it's one of those football rules that will eventually be changed because I think everybody that watches football kind of knows that it's a severe punishment
Yes,
for,
I would
for
think.
fumbling
I
it
wish
in
it
that
was something like,
situation.
hey, you go back to the 25-yard line, almost like when you're
Sure.
playing 21 in basketball.
Yeah.
Like you go back to 15 or whatever. Hinrichs is going to roll out to the right. He's telling his guy to go deep, and Peyton, I believe that's Peyton English, all over Dietrich over there, had no shot. And it's going to go second down and 10. 9:21 to go in the second quarter. Stewartville just sputtering, not themselves, other than the 95-yard touchdown drive that lasted about 50 seconds. Not much else has gone right for the Stewartville offense. Luckily, the Stewartville defense, bend but don't break. It happened in the first quarter there. PEM got down to the 3-yard line, went for it on fourth down, fumbled the snap. Luckily, we held.
Yeah, and let's not forget to give credit to PEM for making things tough and being a menace at times in the backfield and
Absolutely,
and popping the
forcing that
ball out
fumble.
down
Yep.
here. Yeah, they're doing a great job of doing what they got to do to stay in this thing.
Hinrichs under center. He sends Dietrich in motion. They're going to pass this one up. Isaac Larson all over it, just blanket coverage. We got a near side flag. It looks like either a legal formation by the near side referee. It looks like the way he's walking that it's Marshall Barron's. Too many players in the backfield. I thought Marshall Barron's was a white hat.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Now he's on the near sideline. A mainstay in the officiating world.
Absolutely, he does every sport you could imagine.
And I could be wrong, but on the far side that could be MJ Wangen. Is that how you say her last name?
I think
So
yeah.
MJ, everybody calls her. I think that's her on the far
Yeah,
side.
could
So
be.
a few legends out on the field
Yeah.
in terms of Rochester officials.
Well, 2 pass plays in a row from PEM. We probably won't see that much more tonight. Definitely not what they're most comfortable doing. So we'll see if they go back to their ground game here.
They do. They give that one off to try to go up the middle to Ford. And it seems like the middle of our defense has figured that trap play out. You wonder if they're reading the guard as soon as the guard seals off that you fill on the back, essentially on his backside, because there's going to be another guard pulling to try to kick out our defensive tackle.
Yeah, I know that they probably have some defensive keys that they're reading. If a lot of times it's just if the guy comes at you, engage and try to get him off you. If the guy goes away from you, stay flat and run the line of scrimmage. So
looks like Stewartville's going to bring all sorts of pressure. They do, just don't run into the punter. They get that kick away. Hoot intelligently lets that one go. And that's going to be downed by Carson Raymond right at the 40-yard line. Speaking of Raymond, that's a name you hear quite often at PEM. One of the fabulous running backs I think you went against when you were coach. Chase Raymond was an electric player in his own right. When you think back, one of the bigger heartbreaks for a football game that I went through, I believe you were the head coach. You were talking about guys like Joe Irish and Barron Holtz and Derek Cannon Jr., Eddie Martinez Sosa, Derek Lockwood, Blaze Rowell. He's like, wow, the mountain of a man. Those guys came in here, section.
I
We
think
beat
that
them by
was
2.
My last game ever coaching. Thanks
Is that
for
right?
bringing
I'm
that
sorry
up.
to
I
bring it up.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
geez. And Coach
that
Meyer
was
won't
it.
be back for the second half. You'll just be stuck with me.
No, I just always remember that was a playoff game in 2017, I think. and
The
that
thing
was
is
it.
as a 7 seed, they went all the way to the section
They
championship.
did. Yeah, they did a great job.
Handoff to Abdi on the left side. Great blocking there. I believe that was Dylan Hoot. But maybe even better pursuit by the linebacker, Aiden Grainer. We talked about number 21 as a linebacker. To me, he jumped off the tape when I watched him against Red Wing. His ability to fill, his ability to run sideline to sideline, second to none for this Bulldog defense.
I've been impressed with how they pursue the ball and get as many helmets to the ball as they can. So despite a lot of these runs being, chunks, 13 to 20 yards at times, you still see 3 or 4 helmets around the ball at the end of the play. It's some kind of an equipment issue here
Yeah,
with the
either that or an
helmet.
injury because Tyler's running across the field. Well, we got this break. We got a big fan out there. Javen, happy 11th birthday. He's probably sitting with his dad, John, some family friends of ours that even though they go to Rochester Century, tune into the Stewartville broadcast just to hear you, Coach Meyer, and all the wisdom that you bring. As Stewartville 2nd down and 10, still at the 40-yard line. Abdi came in motion onto the near side. Here comes Wangen as they now have 3 receivers bunched there with Bancroft in the tight end position. They flare it out to Wangen, and we'll see what Wangen can do in the open field as he gets tripped up there by number 16, Brecken Hellberg. But Wangen does move the 6 for us as he gets to the 45-yard line of the Bulldogs.
So we talk so much about Abdi and Scanlon and Parker Wangen and Vince Wellick, but I think there's kind of an unsung hero on this offense, and it's number 17, Dylan Hoot. That guy, just watching him go in motion and set lead blocks. We saw one right there where he got his feet moving, got his hands inside, just an awesome block, and allowed 10 extra yards to be picked up because of what he did. It's been fun to see him progress this season and just get to be a really good football player.
Here comes Wangen in motion again. Fake jet sweep. They're going to counter it to Abdi on the right side, and he dives forward to the 41-yard line, picks up about 3 or 4, and it'll be 2nd down and 6. 6:46 to go in the second quarter. Stewartville leads 6-0. PEM putting on one of their better performances of the season through the first 18 minutes of this game, Coach.
Yeah, they've been incredible, just doing what they have to do, scrapping. You know, it's not always pretty, but they're getting the job done and making life tough for these Stewartville Tigers that we've seen. Like I said, just put up huge points nearly every quarter they're out there.
Stewartville 2nd down and 6, 6:15 to go. They're going to fake that handoff to Abdi. Wellick rolls to the left side. It looks like going to be a holding call against Stewartville in the backfield as the white hat threw it right by one of our linemen as Wellick rolled to his left. You wonder, I imagine they're going to take him back the 10 yards because 3rd down and 6 in this territory, probably 2-down territory.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But if you can hold the next one, 3rd down and 15 on the opposite side of midfield is totally different.
Yeah, just knowing Coach Muller's aggressiveness with his offense, they're going to go for it on that side of the field. So push them back and hope for the best here.
I'll tell you something that we haven't seen as much as this season as we have the past 12 years that Coach Muller has been calling plays, and that's the screen pass, Coach. It's been so effective for us, but this year, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the timing, I don't know if it's the location of the pass, I don't know if it's defenses are sniffing that out, I don't know what it is, but we haven't been as effective as we have in the past, and maybe we'll see that a play here. 2nd down and 15, though, they know a simple handoff can also go for 20 yards.
True. Perfect time for
Malik Abdi cuts it back. He's pushing through a defender as he picks up another 2 or 3 yards after contact on the tackle was Logan Peterson. But Abdi picks up those 10 yards that we just got penalized for, and it's now 3rd down and back to 6 yards to go.
Yeah, right where we started. I always feel like Malik runs with fire feet, like his feet are just pitter-pattering, and it just gives him the ability to start and stop and shift to the left and the right quicker than the other guys on the field can.
If you're talking about some breakout players, we've talked about Vince Wellick. We've talked about Caleb Bancroft, you know, guys that maybe you hadn't heard about last year, obviously with Aiden Helder and our Kansas State product, Blake Turner. But Malik Abdi's right up there with them. There's a little screen pass for Wangen. Wangen might hit the sideline. He runs 22 miles an hour, and he just tied the school record for most points scored in a career with that one right there. A huge play from 43 yards out, and Wangen is right there with Josh Burai. All he needs is 1 point, Coach. Bring the kicking tee out.
They'll bring the kicking tee out, or they will run a swinging gate play that Parker can find his way in there. Oh, you wanted the screen game. That's kind of what we've seen. The screen game this year has been more wide receiver screens or wide middles that we saw from Jace Klug earlier on. But the running back screens are where we haven't seen as many.
All right, folks, you get to watch right here. This could be history. The snap is good. The hold is good. Through the uprights and into the record book goes Parker Wangen, now at number 1 with 359 points scored for the incredible athlete that is number 16, Parker Wangen.
Yeah, 300. What'd you say? 359.
359 and counting, baby.
Yeah, that is
He's
a crazy number of points to put up. And Parker gets a lot of extra. You know, Wangen gets a lot of extra points, and he's had 3 field goals this year, I believe. So it's not just scoring touchdowns. He's doing it in multiple ways, but what an impressive number. Let's keep in mind that Burai was also getting extra points when he was kicking extra points as well.
How about Parker Wangen? That not only puts him at the top for career scoring, for career receptions, for touchdown receptions, that's number 30 for him.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. Well,
the next closest is Lucas Scruggs and Will Gisler with 20, I believe.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Well, since Coach Muller has this offense doing what it's doing, that record book has just changed so much over the last 20 years. It's absolutely amazing, the numbers that used to be in there versus how they are now. Pretty fun to see.
There it is. They just announced that Parker Wangen has become Stewartville football's all-time scoring leader, and you talk about a guy that's as humble as they come. Look at his teammates giving him the yes chant real quick. I'm sure he's smiling there. But what a humble guy, very quiet, goes about his business, does his job. Incredible basketball player, incredible golfer, went to state in his first year on your track team last season, and now he is at 359 career points, and it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Yeah, amen to that. He's just a phenomenal young man, and good things happen to good people sometimes, and that's certainly the case here with Parker.
And the refs are going to stop this one as they're going to get an autograph from Parker Wangen before he kicks this one off. So they're going to have to redo that as the Sharpies come out. Or it could have been an offsides and 5-yard penalty on us. One of the two.
Well, a nice gesture from the home fans there. They gave Wangen a standing ovation when they announced it over the loudspeaker. So there's a lot of appreciation for what just happened and kind of a cool moment tonight.
I wonder if Gary heard that through the wall.
Maybe.
Or did somebody tell him?
Maybe he has a TV over there and he's listening to us.
I'm sure they mute it, like most people. If they could just mute my microphone and listen to yours, I'm sure we'd have double the viewers.
I don't know about that.
So Wangen's going to kick it off from the 35-yard line. You talked about the record book and how Coach Muller has, built those records up. I mean, let's all not forget where the foundation to this program started, Coach Meyer. You took us to back-to-back state tournaments in the Final Four, and if it wasn't for those darn Becker Bulldogs, we would have probably been at U.S. Bank Stadium. The only 2 years they don't put the semifinals there.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Wangen boots that one deep all the way to the end zone, moving back another 10 yards. Zeke Spencer just hammered a guy. And look at the Stewartville team finishing the play. I love that. They're running through the end zone. That's what makes this the #1 football team in Class 3A for Minnesota. It's the details, Coach. It's the small things. It's giving effort at all times, even when the ball bounces through the end zone.
Yep, they have things they do, and things that pay off in the end. It's the hustle. It's just the dedication. People want to be on kickoff team, and so they happily run that 60-yard, well, I guess a 65-yard sprint in that case.
So 5:09 to go in the second quarter. Stewartville up 13-0 after their Parker Wangen 40-something yard touchdown run. I was so excited to see him in the open field and get to that record book. And that one's a handoff, I believe, to Grainer on the far side. And he's going to be tackled as Stewartville's defense is starting to figure out this PEM rushing attack. Give PEM all sorts of credit. Those first 16 minutes, they had Stewartville on the ropes. Now Stewartville's trying to punch back here a little bit with 4:52 to go in the first half.
Yeah, and then at this point, the conditioning starts to play a role, where Stewartville does not have a lot of guys going both ways. They got a lot of guys that just play D-line, or there's a few, don't get me wrong, but not as many as what PEM has going. We talked about the injuries that PEM is kind of battling through here, and they got a lot of those linemen that are trying to do both sides of the trenches against a good team.
So they're going to hand that one off on the counter play to Grainer, I believe. And he picks up maybe one as it's going to be 3rd down and 8. So a couple 1-yard gains for the Bulldogs on their first 2 plays of this drive with just about 4 minutes to go. You think about the timing as well, Coach. So it's 13-0 Stewartville, 4 minutes to go. PEM gets the kickoff to come out of halftime. So if they could put a drive together, and double dip. We talk about double dipping.
Yeah.
So they got a wide receiver out there. A lot of times when they motion a running back, they sometimes like to run this scissor route where they cross now, and we'll see if they do that. They do. They cross. They throw it to number 1 who's wide open as we left him, and he's down the sideline. Eastman's going to have to run him down, and he does. It looks like there's a flat. Oh, they called him out of bounds a little bit earlier than where we saw him get tackled. But he does pick up the first down. Just like I said, they run that
Called
running
it.
back out, and then they cross their wide receivers in a scissor route. They've done that several times over the last couple of games. And it just, I don't know what happened with the guy that was on the running back. I don't know if they were supposed to switch.
Yeah,
or
sometimes
go
it sets
with.
up a natural pick there. It's a pretty good little combination that a lot
So
of teams
great
will run.
play there by
Yeah.
Coach Wingert calling that one. I don't know who his offensive coordinator is, but Coach Wingert's staff to call that play at the right time. Now first down and 10 from the 47-yard line. They run that trap play, and Ford, I believe, is going to pick up about 3 as he gets to the 50-yard line. And now there's 3:30 left, and they have a half a football field to go to try to put some points on the board and get the ball coming out in the second half. That would be huge for Coach Wingert and this PEM Bulldog team.
Yeah, that would make them feel extra good here going into half if they can put some points on the board.
We talk about the turnover battle. Does Stewartville have 1 or 2 turnovers? They
We
just the
have
one
the
fumble?
Fumble.
Okay.
I think that's it. 2. Oh, the out of bounds.
the
If we
fumble
call
out of
it,
bounds,
yeah, that's
correct.
true.
It's going to be a quarterback follow as Hinrichs is going to try to jump over a guy. He gets about 2 yards just because he's 6'2" and fell forward. And it's going to be third down and about 5, I would say. 2:52 to go in the first half. Stewartville up 13-0, trying to hold that donut on the board. Any type of score for PM is going to build them some confidence. Even 13-3 going into halftime, knowing you're getting the ball coming out in the second half would be huge. And at this point, it's all 4-down territory, I would
For
imagine,
sure,
Coach
yeah. I
Meyer.
think I'll be curious to see if the Stewartville Tigers make a stop here and get it to 4th down. Will they burn a timeout to just put Plainview into a quandary here and what they're going
Henrik
to do?
snaps it. It's a counter on the inside. Boy, Zeke Spencer filled that lane, and then Lincoln Doobie from his defensive tackle position was coming on strong. I believe it was a loss of 1. Timeout, Stewartville. To your point, Stewartville had 3 timeouts. Can't take them into halftime. And Coach Muller, he wants the ball back one more time.
Yeah, and now if I was Plainview, Elgin Millville, I would maybe be thinking make him go 80 or 90 yards instead of 50. But again, it's a big game. You're on the road. Nobody thinks you can pull this out. Maybe you do or maybe you got a fake punt like Stewartville pulled in the first drive of the game where they had to punt. Who knows?
Especially with all the guys that they have out. Nolan Welke, the dynamic running back and linebacker, 800 yards last year, 7 touchdowns, hurt in week 1. Aaron Martinez, fantastic this year, 54 carries, 373 yards. Sadly, saw him go down with a knee injury in the first half against Lake City. I believe that was week 4. They have Dominic Loya's out. Just a rough go. I believe Damon Corfitz is out. Just piecing together that team, but man, you got to give PEM all sorts of credit. The way that they have played this first half, shorthanded without some of their best playmakers.
Yeah, they've played great. And, here we go. It looks like Stewartville's expecting a punt as they got Dylan Hoot back early on here.
So I would imagine the conversation Coach May had with his special teams is we're playing a punt return safe.
Yeah.
You're playing it like a regular defense. Any sort of trickery, I need you to read the ball. We're not rushing all the way.
Yeah, they'll try to set something up here, and we've seen Dylan Hoot have some amazing
Especially
punt
with
returns this
Hinrichs
year.
as the personal protector. You got your quarterback
there
there.
it
They
is.
do.
It's a
They're going to
fake.
throw it. And in and out of the hands of number 27, Landon Staudeker. We called it the up man there. The personal protector was your quarterback, a dangerous, dynamic playmaker to have the ball in his hands. And, that's probably not a bad gamble.
Well, they almost had it. I mean, really, if they would have been able to hold on to that ball, they're at the 30-yard line with 2 minutes to go. I give them credit for at least taking a shot. You got that in the playbook. Perfect time to use it. It was right there.
I didn't see if that was Eastman on the coverage. I couldn't see who dropped back with them. We had one guy on him, and maybe that was enough to get a hand in there where the ball was bobbling around.
Well, that guy certainly did his job, whoever
Yeah.
it was, if it was Eastman or whoever, but right on the coverage. He didn't fall asleep at all.
3 wide receiver to the near side. On the far side, I believe, is Jace Klug. Scanlon is in the backfield with Wellick. 2:19 to go. Stewartville up 13-0. They do have 2 timeouts. Wellick's going to drop back to pass. He throws it to Wong and over the middle. He's going to juke a guy, get down to the 37-yard line as Stewartville's offense is quick to get back up to the line. But as you know, the clock stops for the first down, for the markers to move. No, for the ball to be set. And now they'll run it. 2:05 and counting. Stewartville's offense, though, can score rapidly. So 2 minutes is a lifetime for Coach Muller. He could probably score twice
Yeah. And
in certain moments. PM's defense is not allowing that to happen tonight. Scanlon left side. He's following Doobie. He's pulling. Scanlon's going to potentially break this one, and speed wins tonight, baby. Dylan Scanlon throwing a little dance, and we got another 15 yards coming Stewartville's way as Scanlon gets the touchdown, but does get a unsportsmanlike flag. Stewartville. It's just so many penalties tonight.
yeah, a lot of them.
And the tough part is, add insult to injury, Scanlon is hurt.
Yeah, he was kind of limping a little bit there on his way off the field. Tell you what, though, we saw his flash of speed there down the sidelines, and once again, I kind of just mentioned how it just kind of looked like PEM was tiring a little bit. The linebackers just didn't have the juice to get out there and chase that stretch play down. Scanlon made him pay.
And Wangen's going to kick the extra point. Great hold there by Klug, and he's going to put that through. 20 points now on the board for Stewartville, and that's how spoiled we are. Stewartville up 20-0 with 1:44 to go in the second quarter. But it felt like all PEM there for a while.
It did. Yeah, it certainly did. And
two big runs, one by Malik Abdi, one by Dylan Scanlon there, and then the big touchdown catch by Parker Wangen. I believe all our touchdowns are from 40-plus yards out.
I think you're right. Yeah, been big plays, and kind of sometimes the big plays today have just been the simple handoffs or a little bubble screen, some of the plays that they've been running since the first day of practice. So kind of fun to see when those simple basic plays are the ones that spring the big ones.
With 1:44 to go here in the second quarter, we want you to stick around for halftime. We'll give you the Tiger Nation halftime report, sponsored by the DU. At least the food they brought us the last couple times, Coach. I don't know if it's actually sponsored by the DU.
We'll make it.
We
yeah.
should, because it's delicious.
It is.
We're going to stick around. We'll talk about some of the other sports that are happening here in Stewartville and how some of our teams are doing. A lot of great things happening. Cross country, volleyball. We got our soccer teams in action. Even girls tennis. What a season for them. We got to talk about them here in 1:44 in terms of game minutes. A lot of great kids, student athletes in Tiger Nation that, Coach, you get to see in the classroom.
Yeah, it's one of the best things about my job is getting to see these kids in the classroom and then go out and do things that they enjoy. And we've mentioned it before on this broadcast, but Stewartville loves its sports. It's why a lot of us enjoy this community as much as we do, but take a lot of pride in being good at the things that they do for fun.
Dietrich's going to return this one. And what a tackle there by Nolan Light. He just sat down on it, wrapped him up, old two-leg takedown almost like for the wrestling world. And we'll see how pumped up Josh Light is. What's going on here? Does PEM got a radio broadcast or something?
Yeah, I think they might have. Yeah.
So 1:39 to go in the second quarter. Hinrichs under center. He's got his two tight ends tight, three running backs. They're going to keep that one. Hinrichs is on the quarterback follow, and Stewartville's defense beats them to the edge, and it's going to be a loss of about 4, I would say. And Stewartville's going to use a timeout. They want the ball again, Coach.
Yeah.
They only got 2 timeouts. I can't do the math that fast. I wonder how much time would potentially be on the clock if they get it back.
Well, it's going to be very little. What is it, 25, 35-second clock? So it's not going to be a lot. But nonetheless, we've talked about the possibility of a punt block, punt return, and you can't take the timeouts to half.
So 20-0 with 1:30 to go in the first half here in Stewartville. PEM played an outstanding first 16 minutes, but since then, a couple big plays by Stewartville has shifted the scoreboard in favor of the Tigers, 20-0. A 60-plus yard touchdown run by Malik Abdi, followed up by a 40-plus yard touchdown catch. Well, actually, no, Wangens had to be I think Wangen caught his on the other side of midfield. His
I
had to
think
be
so.
about 60 yards
Yeah.
as well. And then you had the Dylan Scanlon 40-plus yard touchdown run just about 25 seconds ago to make it a 3-score game.
Well, for a team that prides itself on speed, we've seen plenty of it in flashes tonight. It's, you know, we had a couple windy days, and as I was heading home, these guys are sprinting with the wind. So I had to ask a couple guys, like,
That's not legal.
yeah,
Those
so
times
we're
aren't
gonna
legal.
Get a speeding ticket here.
Yeah. On track, they test that, I believe, don't they? Handoff up the middle. He's still running. What a trap play there to Nolan Ford up the middle. A gain of about, 45, Coach?
Yeah, and for Nolan Ford to be playing O-line at the beginning of the season and now be busting up the middle here to end the half, he had to be having a lot of fun there.
So a big rush gets him inside the Stewartville 30-yard line. The ball sits right at the 28 with 1:14 to go. PEM does have one timeout. The clock is running, 1:10 and counting. They got the 3 running backs behind Hendricks. They got the 1 wide receiver on the far side. There goes the running back. And again, when they motion him, more often than not, they pass it. Oh, but Doobie takes him down with a big sack for the senior, Lincoln Doobie.
Lincoln Doobie's had a great game today. He's been active in the trenches constantly, just wreaking havoc in there. And then on offense, he's been driving his guy down the field all night long.
Lincoln Doobie, 6 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles coming into this game. He's padding those with that high motor we talk about. 2nd down and about 16. They hand that one off the middle to Nolan Ford. And good job by that middle, that interior line being able to get a push. And PEM's going to take their final timeout with 21 seconds to go. 3rd down and 11. Stewartville has 1 timeout left.
We saw PEM line up in a field goal formation before they called the timeout and decided to go for it in the first quarter. I don't know what kind of range. I wasn't really paying attention pregame. That'd be a pretty long field goal for a high school kid, but if they could just put any points on the board, they'd be feeling good here heading into half.
So just inside the 30-yard line, Doobie brought him down for a sack, lost 6. Well, they picked up 5. So now it's 3rd down and 11, 22 seconds to go is the official time on the clock. I believe they adjusted that. You always wonder with this PEM offense, when they run that running back out of the backfield, generally, more often than not, a large majority of the time, it's a pass. And I think because they run them out, and a lot of times they use those crossing routes, like we saw in that scissor play on the far side, it creates some confusion in the defensive backfield, especially because all week you've probably been preparing to stop the run.
Sure.
So we'll see. They have Dietrich on the far side split out. They have 3 running backs. One of them, though, now is Alex Bedstead, who was their tight end, is now on the near side. They're going to just drop back and take a shot long for Dietrich, and over comes Jace Klug, I believe it was. It might have been Isaac Larson. Yeah, Isaac Larson actually read that one, sat down on it, got his body in front of Dietrich, and almost picked it off. It's now 4th down and 10. And again, I would imagine you're taking a shot here, Coach.
Yeah, you might as well. Just one more attempt to make a big play.
The scary thing is you give Stewartville the ball with 11 seconds to go. That's 2 plays. We have a timeout. Like, you never know with the...
I only laugh because most teams would just take the knee and go to half.
But you know Coach Muller better than the rest of us.
Yep, I do.
There's the fake handoff. Hinrichs throws that one over the middle to Dietrich, and they're going to stop him short of the 1st down, it looks like. Ooh, that's a little bit of a generous spot, but that might be a 1st down. They are moving the sticks, 9 seconds to go. PM should hurry up to the line. I don't know. Or did he go out of bounds, are they saying?
Looks like they did stop the clock. Huh.
Okay, well, now it's up to the defense to hold it. Here we're talking about what would potentially happen if Coach Muller got a chance to call some plays. They're bringing Klug in for height to essentially give us more defensive backs. We're like in a nickel package now. fakes the handoff. Hinrichs is going to throw that one to the end zone. Picked off! Oh, they did a little glaze there. Isaac Larson picked it off and then tried to pitch it back to somebody. And I don't know if PEM recovered it. There was all sorts of contact over there. They never signaled who got the ball. Oh, it will be Stewartville ball, they're saying. Two seconds to go, and I believe in this territory. I know Coach Muller is aggressive, but I would imagine that.
We'll see the knee here, I think.
Stewartville ball, 1st and 10 from the Stewartville 13-yard line, I believe. This will be the last play of the first half. 2 seconds on the clock. PEM's back in all their secondary to about the 40-yard line, 35, 40-yard line. And I would imagine it would be more of a screen than anything, or just a simple run and trying to get the big cats out front. The thing is our wide receivers and our pulling guards are very good at blocking in space. You don't want to give them too much. Malik Abdi motions out. So Wellick all alone in the backfield. Oh, no. They throw it to Wangen, but he does have blockers out in front of him. And great tackle by Hinrichs. A couple open field tackles by Hinrichs in the first half. Thank goodness, that could have been dangerous. The snap goes over Wellick's head, still gets it into the playmaker Wangen's hands. Wangen does a little bit with a little bit. And we're going to go into halftime. Stewartville up 20-0 on the back of touchdowns by Malik Abdi, Parker Wangen, and Dylan Scanlon, all from 40 yards and above. Let's talk about what's happening here in Tiger Nation. We got a lot of incredible student athletes that are representing the maroon and gold, and I'm excited to tell you how they're doing. We're going to start out with cross country. Cross country last week was at the St. Charles Invite. That was on September 26th. The boys team placed second overall as a team with 66 points. LARP won it with 27. Our homecoming king, Josh Langseth, took third place in a time of 17:28. Remember, these are 5K times. In sixth place, Nolan Schatz, 17:43. 14th place, sophomore Asher Langseth, 18:43. Jackson Eckerman in 20th place. The freshman ran it in 18:54. And then our final scorer, Jack Owen, the sophomore, finished in 24th place at 19:05. Also running for the boys, Ethan Owen, the freshman, ran it in 19:35. Josiah Scruggs finished in 38th place at 20:23. PEM, if you're out there listening, you had 2 top 20 finishers for the Bulldogs in this St. Charles Invite. In 10th place, Nolan Filesticker, 18:24, and then senior Mason Hall finished in 13th place with a time of 18:32. And then you talk about the ladies on the back of 3 top 10 finishers and our 5 scorers in the top 20. The women's team actually tied Lanesboro Fillmore Central for best score with 52, but we lost the tiebreaker and would finish second. Our top runner was freshman Celis Scare, and she would finish in 4th place with a time of 21:46. Nora Campbell, the senior, would finish in 7th place with a time of 22:04. Younger sister Elise Campbell, not far behind her in 10th place, 22:22 was her time. In 11th place, 11th grader Luella Gici, 22:29. And then in 20th place, our final scorer, junior Olivia Bunny, 23:48. We also had 2 other girls running for us. In 38th place, Jenna Keim, the sophomore, ran it in 25:32. And Hannah Loftus, 52nd place, the freshman, ran it 27:36. PEM fans, 3 of your girls finished in the top 25 for your Bulldogs. In 18th place, a common name there in the Bulldog area, Kate Raymond, 23:43. That was good for 18th place for that sophomore. 2 7th graders, one in 21st place, Sophie Clavetter, 23:55, and Ruthie Hagan in 24th place, 23:58. Tuesday night, Stewartville was in Chatfield, and the Tigers swept the meet. Both men's and women's teams brought home the titles. And I'm trying to remember if this is the one where they get like a cookie cake or something in Chatfield. I can't remember. I should have talked to Coach Tuseth. Josh Langseth would not be denied as he took home first place 7 seconds in front of the next best runner. Our next 4 runners all finished in the top 15 as we would score 29 points, 5 ahead of RAACHE, whatever all those letters mean. No idea. I didn't do that much research. research. First place, like I said, Langseth, 17:14 was his time. Third place, Nolan Schatz, the freshman, ran it in 17:37. Jackson Eckerman in sixth place, the younger brother of the softball silent assassin, Addie Eckerman, 18:11 was his time. In seventh place, Asher Langseth, the sophomore, ran it 18:13. And then Jack Owen, great finish for him. The sophomore ran it in 18:38. That was good for 13th place. And again, that would finish our men's team in first place overall. Josiah Scruggs, 21st place. He ran in 19:45. Jack Horeb, the sophomore, 24th place, just under 20 minutes. The women's team, Sella Scarin led the way for us with a second place finish, and three other girls finished in the top 8 to win this one by 21 points. Second place finish, like I said, for the freshman Sella Scarin, 21:05 was her time. In sixth place, Elise Campbell got bragging rights over her older sister in this one, 21:44 for the ninth grader. In seventh place, Luella Geechee, 21:47. Then right behind her, Nora Campbell in eighth place, 21:54. In 13th place, Olivia Bunny, the junior, ran it in 22:56. And then Jenna Kime, 18th place, 23:42. Hannah Loftus, 24:26. That was good for 28th place. Cross country will actually be in PEM's neck of the woods next this coming week, I believe. Piper Hills Golf Course for the Jody Raymond Invitational. 11 teams are planning to attend that. Then we talk about girls tennis. At one point, a 13-match win streak for the team. We finished up the regular season earlier, I believe it was earlier this week, against Cannon Falls. We won 3 of the 4 singles matches. Didn't just win, but really put the pedal to the metal. Chloe Regal at number 1 singles, 6-0, 6-0. Olivia Regal at number 2 singles, 6-1, 6-2. And Grace Miller at number 3 singles, 6-2, 6-1. We would get a big win by Kylie Jones and Addie Eckerman in doubles play, 7-6. Then they dropped the second set, 6-0, then came back in thrilling fashion for another 7-6 win to lock up the match for Stewartville at 4-3. Needed every one of those sets in that match, 4-3 Stewartville over Cannon Falls. We would get the 5 seed in Section 1, 2A, and play Faribault first round. The Regal sisters, Chloe and Olivia, didn't drop a set in singles play, ran the table. Grace Miller won number 3 singles, 6-1, 6-2. We picked up another 2 wins in doubles play. Our number 2 doubles team of Reese Nelson and Ann Bester won 6-0, 7-6. Kylie Jones and Addie Eckerman would get the dub in number 3 doubles, 6-4, 6-1. That was 5-2 victory for Stewartville over Faribault. They would move on to the quarterfinals and take on number 4 seed Owatonna Huskies. That happened yesterday. Unfortunately, we would drop that one 5-2. I don't have the individual scoring on that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we ended the season 16-3, 5 seed in Section 1, 2A. Just a great overall year for the Stewartville girls tennis team. I believe now they have individuals and doubles action for section play. But in terms of team play, what a year. What a year for this tennis team led by those 2 Regal sisters. Awesome to see. We move on to girls soccer. Monday, September 30th, we took on Dover Yoda here in Stewartville. Was at the concession stand. Boy, is that job a lot harder than I thought. So big props to anybody that volunteers in the concession stand. I believe cross country has taken over those duties tonight. So thank you for that. But anyway, we lost to Dover Yoda here at Schaefer Field 7-0. Tuesday, October 1st, we lost 1-0 against Cannon Falls. That put our record at 3-11 overall, 0-5 in conference, 3-3 in section, which right now, I don't have the results for Lake City and Caledonia. I'm disappointed in myself. Right now, it puts them as the number 4 seed out of 9 teams in Section 2, Single A. So potentially, if all things hold true, we could potentially host a game here at Schaefer Field in the first round of sections. Boys soccer, Monday, September 3rd, we played Dover Yoda on the road, and the Tigers were up big at the half, 5-0. We coasted to a 7-1 win over the Eagles. Lucas Yenny, 2 goals and 1 assist for him. Cole Kropp, he's been having a fantastic season. 1 goal, 2 assists for him. Lucas Nelson, 1 goal, 1 assist. Logan Quam, Cody Clark, and Charlie Waltman each had a goal for the Tigers. Jonas Hance had 1 assist. Goalie Brecken Rester had 4 saves. The boys, I believe at that time, 9-4-2 overall, 3-2-1 in conference, 4-3 in section, which right now, at least when I looked it up, put them at the 4 seed in Section 1 Single A. I do have the results from yesterday. The boys on the road to take on Caledonia. Logan Quam scored twice and had 2 assists to lead Stewartville to a 6-1 win over that Caledonia Warrior squad. Cole Kropp had 2 goals himself, so now move that to, I believe, 10 wins for the boys soccer team. The boys averaging 4 goals a game, ranked number 18 in the state in the QRF rankings. Unfortunately, our section has undefeated Winona Cotter. You got a strong Rochester Lure team led by Blake Moyna. I believe he's top 3 in the state in scoring. And then you got St. Charles, Lewiston, Altura at 9-2, just in terms of their section matchups. Then we move on to volleyball. Let's run this down real quick. Volleyball. Last Thursday was a thriller in Cannon Falls. The Tigers and Bombers, they traded sets through the first 4 to extend this to a winner-take-all 5th set, and Stewartville would roll 15-6 in the final frame to bring home the W 3-2. Dream Petershon, 15 kills with a 41% kill percentage, only 2 errors in 37 attacks, 3 blocks. Love watching her as a middle hitter. Ella Theobald, 14 kills on 36 attacks, 1 block. The ball just sounds different when she hammers away. Matilda Doobie, 10 kills on 25 attacks, 2 ace serves, 3 blocks. Freshman Spencer Nagel, 8 kills for her. Kaylee Lehrman, 100% serve percentage on 22 attempts against the Bombers. She accounted for 13 points while serving. She had 1 ace, 8 digs, but more importantly, 21 set assists. I think she has been fantastic this season in her final year in the maroon and gold. Very consistent in feeding our big-time hitters, which we have plenty of them. Kate Clavetter in the back row, 33 digs, flying all over the place. Abby Langseth, 26 set assists, 11 digs. Kylie Minnick, Reagan Middlestat, 15 digs each for the Tigers in that 5-set thriller. Tuesday night, the girls took on the Wildcats of Goodhue, and the Tigers steamrolled through this match 25-17, 25-13, 25-15. Ella Theobald simply dominant in this match. 14 kills on 37 attacks with a 297 hitting percentage. She also had 4 digs. Dream Petershon continues her breakthrough season for the Tigers. Her and Matilda Doobie, they've been just a blessing for our squad, and they're just juniors, both playing incredible. Some of the best middle hitters in the entire HVL, if you ask me. Dream had 7 kills, 1 block, while Matilda Doobie finished with 6 kills, 2 blocks, and 6 digs in a shorter night of work. Dream leads the team in blocks with 24. Matilda leader in hitting percentage at 327. Spencer Nagel had 6 kills, 1 block, and we are sending our best wishes her way as she went down with an apparent ankle injury, and the future is bright for Spencer Nagel. Hopefully she comes back sooner rather than later. Wanted to let Spencer and her family know, if you're listening, we are thinking about you. Kate Clavetter once again led the team in digs. 22 of those, also had 4 set assists, while Kylie Minnick was right behind her with 21 digs to go along with her 2 ace serves. Kate leads the squad with over 5 digs per set, as well as service aces with 25 on the season. Abby Langseth had a double-double, 26 set assists, and 12 digs. Kaylee Lehrman finished her night with 12 set assists. Tigers were at 12-2 overall at that point, 4-1 in the conference. Thursday night, which was just last night, Kenyon Wanamingo fresh off the printer. We ended up losing 3-1 to the Knights, unfortunately. We won the first set 25-16, but then just couldn't get things going as we lost 25-16, 25-13, 25-15. But give Kenyon Wanamingo all sorts of credit. Coming into their game, they were 27-0 in their previous 9 matches for sets record. So now they are 30 of the last 31 in the last 10 matches. In terms of hitting, how about Ella Theobald? She just led the way and was incredible. Hit some absolute hammers, 13 kills, 3 blocks. Dream Petershon, 6 kills, 1 block. Matilda Doobie filled up her stat line. I don't know who's having a better week, Matilda Doobie or Lincoln out there on the football field right now. Either way, Doobie, 5 kills, 5 aces, 7 blocks, 5 digs. What can't that girl do? Love watching her play, one of my favorite players. Olivia DeCook with Spencer Nagel down got into the action. The senior, 4 kills, 3 blocks for our homecoming queen. Kaylee Lehrman, 9 assists, 1 ace, 6 digs. Kate Clavetter led the team with 22 digs. Abby Langseth, 18 assists, 10 digs. Volleyball team now sits, I updated this record, I believe it's 13-3, and we have our final regular season game on the road at Cassamanerville on Tuesday, October 8th. In terms of PEM, if you're listening out there, volleyball, I believe you guys are 5-14. You guys won set 2 and 4 to force a game 5 on Tuesday. I'm trying to think of who you guys were playing. You were playing Cassamanerville, I believe, but you dropped that game 5. Allie Schuchard led the way with 17 kills, 3 blocks. Lainey Goose had 17 assists, while Lauren Clavetter had 9 to go along with 12 digs. Claire Raymond was the top back row player with 19 digs. Ava Burrows and Chloe Peter each had 10 digs. That was for PEM against Cassie Manorville on Tuesday. Girls soccer for PEM, 4-10-1. They are in that tough Three Rivers Conference. And then boys soccer for PEM, 3-10-2. We may see PEM Stewartville matchup for boys soccer in sections, as PEM projects as an 8 seed and Stewartville possibly a 4 seed. And so the brackets may play out that way. I don't know. But what I do know, Coach Meyer, is that Stewartville has a bunch of great student athletes, and not just on the gridiron, all over the place. I love watching our volleyball team. Girls like Ella Theobald, Matilda Doobie, Dream Peter Sean. Great group of junior girls that the future looks bright. You also have Abby Langseth in that junior class. And then we have some seniors stepping up for us. You have Charlie Holmes there. You got Minnick. DeCook stepping up with Spencer Nagel going down. So a great mix, and the future of that program looks bright. Like I said, 13-3. Cross country, it's nice to see them win in Chatfield, both boys and girls team. I would imagine that conference meet is coming up soon, and then go into section play. Josh Langseth couldn't be running better right now for the boys team. And then how about that girls tennis team? You talk about on the backs of Chloe and Olivia Regal, Addie Eckerman in doubles. You got Haley Loris, one of my favorite players, playing in doubles. Fantastic season for them as well. All of these kids probably ring a bell. They've probably all been through your speech class and probably all talked about how much they enjoy playing for the Stewartville Tigers.
Yeah, probably more than they enjoyed getting up and giving speeches. We can probably guarantee that. But an awesome group of kids that you just listed off, and hats off to you for putting in the research in all this stuff and giving all those kids credit. I always kind of comment to you about one of my favorite things is some of these kids that are stars in one sport, they go and they end up being a role player in another. And to me, that's just an awesome thing. I think of Sydney Clark sitting there on the bench on the volleyball team a lot, but a superstar on the softball field. And yet she's there and cheering and doing everything she can to help out an awesome volleyball team and a great season that they're having. So, that's kind of the underlying part that I just kind of get a kick out of is watching these kids support one another and then being a superstar when it's your turn to be the star.
Yeah, you talk about Sydney Clark, 64-mile-an-hour fastball, drops her changeup down to 20, can spin it. But more importantly, you talk about that energy she brings. You know, one of my favorite sayings is, somebody once told me, the easy way is almost never the right way. The easy thing to do sitting on the bench would be to just sit there and complain about playing time, or maybe complain about that I should be out there. The hard thing is to jump up, be excited for somebody else's success, and that's what you're seeing from some of these players. And then knowing in softball season, when she has the ball in her hand, she is the best player in the HVL conference. So you talk about that. You talk about a guy like Parker Wangen. You know, he's contributed in several different sports. You know, basketball, he could have been the star. Then we see him, you know, sometimes having to do the dirty work, playing on defense against their best offensive player, maybe distributing the ball. You talk about other girls that, you see on the volleyball court that do excel in other sports. Kylie Minnick becomes, goes from being one of the stars on volleyball to being a really big-time role player for our girls basketball team that's been to state the last 2 years in a row. So I agree with you. It's sometimes easy to be the superstar. It's sometimes easy when the lights are shining on you. But how are you going to react? What is your character going to show when things might not go your way, or you don't get what you want all the time? And so I appreciate you bringing that up. And we do have some fantastic kids. And so you got to give credit not only to the coaches that hopefully instill that kind of environment for our sports teams, but also the parents, the families. You know as well as I do, we have some amazing families here in Tiger Nation.
Yeah, it's learned behaviors, that's for sure. You're not born with unselfishness. It's something that you've learned along the way and you've been taught and you've picked up. And so to see it kind of instilled in a lot of these kids is just something I really enjoy, especially being a teacher and kind of getting to know these kids on a more personal level in the classroom, and then you see it on the courts and on the fields, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and I gave credit to the coaches and the parents and the families, obviously, but teachers, huge impact. Obviously, I'm married to one, but we saw that was at the last home game where you were honored by Ridge hats out there and the impact that you've had on so many students. So I think we should give credit. And this is, this is not a knock on high school teachers. But a lot of times these high schoolers think, what has somebody done for me lately? But I also want to give a shout out to all those teachers that have helped them through their developmental years before they got into sports and stuff. Just learning how to, the classroom structure when you're at Bonner Elementary. And then all of a sudden you get to Bear Cave and you get the excitement of, I know he's not here anymore, but Coach Lifford and Coach May that they bring into, You also got Tyler Schmitz is over there. You got
Yeah.
Coach Liga. Not just coaches, but teachers as well. Then you go into the middle school, and you have a fantastic staff there as well. I know Brooklyn just loves Coach Hoth as a teacher, just fantastic teacher. Now Natalie has him. So now, just all the way up through, we just have a fantastic staff in Stewartville that has helped build these kids into what they are. And luckily, we get to see them out on the field, but you get to see them in the classroom and maybe a little different side.
Yeah, it takes a village. That's an awesome saying, and I think it's super true. And so when these kids see it from all angles, then it helps them turn out to be good young humans, and they can then share it with others when it's their turn. So it's a good way to do it.
So Stewartville, you hear the music in the background. That means, gosh, we aren't even get to go to break, Coach. I hope you don't have to go to the bathroom or anything. If you do,
We'll
just
figure
leave
it
it.
out.
I'll try to figure out how to talk through it. But you see PEM is lining up for the kickoff return. You hear the music in the background. Edwin Diaz's song for me. That's what I always think of as he walks out. But Stewartville has made it their kickoff song. And Parker Wangen's night is not over, even after jumping to the top of the record books for all-time scoring leader here in Stewartville as a football player. We still have 24 game minutes, and if PEM plays anything like they did in the first quarter, Stewartville better have their chin straps buckled extra tight here in the third quarter, Coach.
Yeah, I wish I could have snuck down to the half room talk there just to hear what was said and kind of what was the tone. And both sides. I think Plainview's side was probably optimistic and saying, hey, we were real close to having them down, and probably Stewartville was happy to be where they're at, but certainly felt like they made a few miscues.
Logan Dietrich's going to take that. He gets tripped up right over the 20-yard line. I think he lands about the 22-yard line. Zeke Spencer will probably get credit for that tackle, but not like most of his tackles where you're worried about the ambulance coming on the field. And the Stewartville defense, the gold rush is going to go out there. I would imagine there's been some adjustments or at least just refocusing them. You saw a little bit of a roller coaster. We saw them kind of give up some big plays, but then you also saw some huge plays for losses. So kind of give and take, and we'll see what it looks like coming out here in the second half. What do you think about PEM? You think they'll stick to the ground game? They saw some success on that trap run to Nolan Ford up the middle.
It's the one thing with this offense I've always kind of wondered about. When you're in this situation, you don't have a huge number of plays. I guess I just think of Stewartville with probably 20 different formations and different motions, and yeah, there might not be, it looks a little more fancy than it probably actually is, but they got to go back to their running game, and they have to do the things that they do best, because they're not going to draw up stuff at halftime and try to make it work. So
I think just a tangent off that final halftime thought that we were talking about with the players and the families and stuff like that, and the coaches and the teachers. Coach Wingert, I got a chance to talk with him on Wednesday and appreciate the time that he gave during a busy week to make sure that I had the name pronunciations as best I could. Hopefully I wrote them down correctly, any stats that he could provide me. But one of the things that he talked about is PEM comes for a second down play, and that one stopped right at the line by Grayson Schneider. I believe no gain, so it'll be 3rd down and 9. But something Coach Wingert talked about was, as a coach, he talks about the next man up, and he's trying to teach his boys to compete, even when things are down, maybe not going your way, to get out there and compete. But one thing that he came back to is, I don't want to lose sight of also remembering why I'm here, and that's to teach them to be good young men, to be role models, to be potentially good husbands and good fathers someday, and good, community members, and to have that mindset. And that's something that our Stewartville coaching staff prides themselves on, is to remember this is much more about than just football. As Hinrichs is going to keep that one on a quarterback follow, tries to get to the outside, and Mickey Height runs him down and tackles him about 4 yards short of a first down. But that's so important as a coach, is to instill those qualities. You talk about them maybe coming through, the lessons of football, but they're life lessons, Coach.
For sure. Well, you talk about next man up and having bad things happen, injuries during the season, and these guys, all of them, regardless of which team they're on, they're going to have bad days, they're going to have bad weeks. And they got to get up in the morning and go to work and figure it out as they go. And so these are the moments in their lives where that kind of, internal drive starts.
And so PEM's going to punt. The punter right back at his own 15-yard line. Light almost got a hold of it, and Dylan Hoot catches this one, and he is electric in his hands in the open field. But PEM does such a good job of kind of containing him from breaking it to the outside and closing in as they stop him right at the 46-yard line of Stewartville, as we will see the Tigers on their first drive of the second half up 20-0, 10-20 to go in the third quarter.
So I'll be curious early on here to see if Stewartville just sticks to the running game that was so successful in the first half, or if they kind of work that passing game a little bit here.
I think we'll get our answer pretty quick, as Malik Abdi and Dylan Scanlon are both on the sideline, Coach. We saw Scanlon limp off after his touchdown run. He has his left calf wrapped up. Malik Abdi, I would imagine, is pretty healthy. We got 3 wide receivers on this side. On the far side is the electric Parker Wong. No, Parker Wongen's in the backfield. I think Jace Klug's on the far side. They're going to pitch that one out to Parker Wongen. Wow, what a play there by Aiden Grainer, reading that play and then being able, with his closing speed, to tackle Wongen for a 3-yard loss. We talked about 21 jumping off the screen on PEM's defense. You showed right there why he's such a special player on this side of the ball for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, that's not an easy guy to tackle one-on-one in the open field, but he got it done right there.
So they're moving Wongen to the super back position. He's next to Wellick. You got Jace Klug on the near side. I believe Hoot, Bancroft, and Larson on the far side. They essentially do kind of the same play. And there's Wongen out in the open field, and if he just tries to run through the defensive back, wow. Wongen has gotten faster and faster every single year. You saw him just jump up a gear when he hit that sideline, Coach.
I saw it firsthand in track last year. He came in, and we obviously do a lot of timing and keeping data on these guys. And by the end of the season, he was one of our 4 or 5 fastest guys. He got down to where he was running the 400 one time around the lap in about 50.5, 51 seconds. So it was awesome to see.
Wellick all alone in the backfield. Here comes Wongen on a motion. They're going to give a jet sweep. He's got Caleb Bancroft seals it really nicely. He's going to get through the sideline. He's just going to beat everybody to the pylon, as we talked about his speed, and he used it there. Feed the cats, baby. Parker Wongen, 30 yards away.
Well, I guess we got our answer. Are they going to run or pass? And I guess the answer was yes, but just get it to 16 and let him work there. 4 straight plays going to Parker Wongen and results in a touchdown.
In my opinion, the best offensive threat in the entire district. And to be honest with you, you probably could make a case on defense and special teams as well.
Yeah, I start thinking about the fantasy draft that you and Coach Muller did a couple years ago. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think.
but just thinking about who's that number 1 pick now. Is it Parker Wongen? Is it Owen Sickink? Is it Josh Burai? Is it? There's so many options, but Parker would have to be in that conversation with just
especially because you get a wide receiver, you get your kicker, you get your punter. Yeah, you get a little bit of everything.
Put him at quarterback if you wanted to.
With that many players, Coach, I would imagine we might have to go a 3-team draft and call you in on this.
I might have some old names that you guys don't even know that I would like to throw
that's
on
the
there.
benefit.
So,
That's the benefit.
Sleepers.
Parker Wongen with his second touchdown of the night and just keeps inching forward. That career scoring mark. Great to see him get that record, and now we'll see how far he tries to put it out of reach for everybody else. His evening is not done. He takes a quick drink of water, and now he'll have to kick off. Yeah, you talk about guys that are the Swiss Army knife. Owen Sinkik was one of them. Well, Parker Wongen's another one of those guys. He can do absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So 9:08 to go in the third quarter, 27-0 Stewartville. As the score doesn't reflect how well PEM played in that first half. Back deep to receive for the Bulldogs, number 21, Aiden Grainer, and number 1, Logan Dietrich. The near, kind of the up backs, if you will, you got Alex Hinrichs, and on the far side, I believe that's 27, Landon Staudeker. As Wongen's going to kick this one deep, and it's close to the sideline. You hope it doesn't bounce out, and it does, so the flag comes out. And PEM will start pretty good field position as the refs will bring that out to the 30. Is it 35 or 40?
I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah, right? When the chains stop moving. Slim Elton over there, he's got it down.
Well, I just tell you, with all the changes in the NFL
Yeah.
and watching
Oh my
games on
gosh, those
Saturdays and then watching games on Fridays, there's 3 different sets of rules, and I don't get paid to keep them straight anymore. So
the Gold Rush is back out there after the first drive, which ended in a 3-and-out for the Bulldogs. You see Carson Jansen, Lincoln Doobie. I believe Hatz is in there. Carson Goodman on the far side, Grayson Schneider. Dietrich goes in motion. Hinrichs is going to keep this one. Peyton English does a great job setting up that edge, and then Justice Dino, I believe, came flying over to help out.
good job shedding the block there by Peyton English. And Justice Dino filling the window like he always does.
I'm trying to think of where Peyton English is fitting in. They must be running 4 linebackers because you have Dino, you have Zeke Spencer, you have Mickey Height, and you got Peyton English.
I mean, we
so they're running like a
essentially
5-4.
Yeah, we have 2 D-backs out there basically playing head up over the tight ends.
The 2 defensive backs, Isaac Larson and Luke Eastman. Hinrichs under center. That one's right up the middle, I believe, and Zeke Spencer was trying to tackle the ball and rip it out. Luckily, he slowed Ford down enough for the Cavalry to come in and finish him off, but Ford does pick up about 5 yards. It's now 3rd down and 5 at the 40-yard line.
So I was talking with Coach Muller at lunch duty a couple times this week about other teams that they could possibly see this year that runs this same offense. Obviously, for Minnesota football fans, Elk River is kind of the team that's known for just putting up ridiculous rushing yards using this power T offense. But I think the team in our class is Dassel Cokato,
yep.
I think is the one that is kind of known for running the power T and putting up huge rushing numbers. So again, I start thinking about, you don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, but would this be the look that they would give a team like that should they butt heads at some point?
Ooh, defensive line tries to switch to draw him off sides. Hinrichs is going to throw that one just off the fingertips of Mickey Height, and that would have been fun to watch because Mickey Height, every single time he's made an interception, he's taken it to the house. 3 interceptions, 3 pick sixes in his short career. He had the one in the state semifinal game, and he's had 2 this year. That one just off the fingertips, and it looked like a lot of green grass as Hinrichs tried to get, I believe that was Staudeker coming out. It was hard to see. It could have been 21, actually. 7-1, I guess, could look. It could have been Grainer. Don't quote me on that. And looks like Dietrich's going to punt this one away. He's standing at his own 25-yard line. Dylan Hoot at the Stewartville 24. As usually, mathematically, they know exactly where they want their guy to stand to set up a return. Great job by Dietrich to pick that one up off a single bounce. That one is a low-line drive, and Hoot's going to let that one roll, and it rolls sideways and settles just inside the 30-yard line as Hinrichs downs that for PEM. And Stewartville's second drive with 7:08 to go in the 3rd quarter is going to start out with them leading 27-0. So the question will be, I guess we have the answer. Malik Abdi is coming out, so we will no longer see Wangen in the superback position. But we will see him at wide receiver. Wangen on the near side, Jace Klug on the far side. Caleb Bancroft is on the near side tight end. Wangen is telling Klug he's got to get a wider split. So you wonder if they're running that way. Look at this. Vince Welk is telling him to go deep. No, Vince Welk is just going to run this one on his own. Klug gives him a block. And late. I thought it was going to be a late hit. It looked like Welk was stepping out of bounds.
Good awareness there by Wellick to just get what he could. He was obviously given instructions. Something wasn't quite right even before the snap. But for him to pick up a first down and just see the open field, it's awesome awareness from a QB.
I'm trying to think, was it the Wasika game that he picked up a couple big third down runs?
It was,
yeah. So his ability to scramble, really helpful. Not to force it, just keep the sticks moving, live for another play.
You mentioned his amazing game last week against Lake City. I swear he threw a no-look pass down the middle to Wangen and looked like he was going to throw a bubble screen and then just kind of whipped it right over the middle without.
No way.
It looked like he wasn't even looking, but I'm sure he was.
Low snap. Wellick's going to just keep that one himself. He's going to scramble. And look at the athleticism from Vince Wellick. He's coming down the sidelines. Look at this. He says, Malik Abdi, Dylan Scanlon, I've seen you plenty of times. I've picked up a few things.
Yeah, he runs the sprints as well, and he's got some wheels. There's no doubt.
What an athlete Vince Wellick is. It seems like Stewartville just keeps churning out good running or good quarterbacks here, Coach.
Yeah, I've been several places where people are asking, "What's in the water?"
I don't. Did you ever answer? I hope you didn't tell him what the secret is.
No, I didn't tell him.
I don't even know what it is.
No,
but, yeah.
I didn't tell him.
Wangen on the near side, Drace Klug on the far side. Up in front of Wellick is Hoot. They're going to switch everything. Hatz goes to the far side. He's now going to become essentially the right tight end. Trips bunch to the right. They're going to hand that one off to Abdi. He's got Lunas pulling in front of him. Abdi trying to just get whatever he can. But there's Aiden Grainer. Sideline to sideline from that linebacker position. Also Dietrich coming in to help. We've seen that several times, their ability to get sideline to sideline.
We've seen some good linebackers this season, haven't we?
Oh,
Just,
my goodness.
calling
Blake Shields
games.
from PI. Yeah. Aiden Grainer. Wasika's secondary was scary.
It was, yeah.
Cassie Manorville's secondary was very good. You got Peterson and you got Tomey. As they're going to do a quick pitch there to Dylan Hoot. And great open field tackle there by Logan Dietrich. As Stewartville picks up about 4 yards on that, it's going to be 3rd down and 7 right at the 35-yard line of PEM. Stewartville needs to get to about the 28.5-yard line for a first down. 5:21 to go in the third quarter, 27-0 Stewartville.
One of the things I always feel like you can tell a well-coached team is open field tackling, and then do they stay on their blocks or not? And we've seen PEM do that all night. Good open field tackling, and the blockers are they're trying their hardest to just stay on those blocks.
There's a pass out to Wangen. Wangen, did he get to the sticks is the question. It's hard for me to see just because of all the players in front of him. It looked like he stopped at the 30, which is going to be about a yard short. It's going to be 4th down and 1. 4th down and maybe 2. I don't know if I want to call that a miscue. Usually Wangen knows where the sticks are at. I'm surprised he cut his route off that short unless it was something he saw from the defensive back. So we got 2 wide receivers on the far side, Klug and Wangen, Abdi in the backfield with Hoot. Oh, they get PEM to jump, but possibly not far enough into the neutral zone. Coach Muller looks at, likes his play. He's going to give it to Abdi right up the middle. Abdi, great cut to the left side because he saw Grainer coming off the right side, and Abdi knew, I just need to pick up 2 or 3 yards here, and he does. Bancroft is down. Hopefully he gets up. He's down for a while. They're gonna make him come off the field, I bet, for one play. Nope, they're not. Abdi with a big 4th down run for us. And Bancroft does come off for a rest. Zeke Spencer is going to be coming in. How about this for trivia? Zeke Spencer, probably not even my favorite Spencer. That's got to go to the youngest, Ella. Well, not the second youngest. The youngest daughter, Ella. She was on our softball team, not last summer, but the summer before. Just fantastic kid. Now in 7th grade. So hopefully we'll see her playing sports for Stewartville in the next coming years. Wellick drops back. He's looking. He's moving his feet. He might have to scramble again. He will. Fakes the throw. Little Pat Mahomes in him. You're talking about no-look passes. You're talking about faking a throw pretty far down the field.
If you know Wellick, he's got the $1 million Pat Mahomes smile, too.
Is that right?
Yeah, he flashes the pearly whites, and he could do commercials.
First down, maybe Jimmy salad dressing. They got some commercials coming out for those guys.
I saw the Parker Wangen kicking the dip through the uprights.
Heather showed me a video. I don't know if it's been shown yet, but Ridge Hats essentially dips his whole hand in a, I don't know if it's holy smoke or what, or mayonnaise or something, and just eats it. It's incredible.
That's awesome.
Trips bunch to the right. They're going to hand it off. Oh, that's the play.
Yeah.
Abdi to Wangen. They fumbled it in the first half, but they say, we get better and better, baby. And there's Wangen's 3rd touchdown of the night with 3:33 to go in the 3rd quarter. Hey, we're going to get it right at some point, Coach, and we got it right there.
Yeah.
14 yards away, Wangen with the rushing touchdown. Malik Abdi's probably saying, Parker, let me keep this one. Let me keep this one.
He could have probably done it on his own, and everybody would have been going with Parker, and he was hiding the ball. But
All threes on the board. Well, except for the guest score there, Coach. Are you seeing that?
I am now.
33-0, 3:33 to go in the third quarter. Each team has 3 timeouts. And Wangen's going to wreck that as he's going to put the extra point right through, and now it's 34. But that's okay. We'll take it. It was good while it lasted. 34 rip. Stewartville, 3:33 to go.
you can
As
start
we
to
saw
see
2 straight drives, Coach.
Yeah, and you can just start
And
to
in a
see PEM's just looking tired right now. If I'm being totally honest, the body language is just a team that's working so hard to just hang in there. And then when you look at the scoreboard and see where it's at this point, it's hard to keep that fight. But like you said, Coach Winger knows that that's what he's trying to teach these guys: is no matter what the scoreboard says, keep fighting, keep digging in, do things the right way. And I guarantee you that's what these guys will do to finish out the night.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging to do. But remember, the easy way is not almost always not the correct way. And so they'll hopefully keep fighting. In terms of Coach Winger, one of the conversations that we had, we talked about Stewartville's ability to try to prepare for this offense. And just like Casson Manorville, just like this power T that we're seeing, it's very hard to duplicate if it isn't ingrained in you and the reads that happen and the way the blocks move. Well, Coach Winger was saying it's very difficult to prepare for the speed of Stewartville in practice. It's not something that you fully realize until you're on a field with them. And the players all kind of mentioned last year, those guys are fast. And you see when you start to wear down, if Stewartville stays fresh, they are a team that can just build on the lead in the second half.
Well, that and you attack on all, like I said, all the formations and all the different
yeah.
things they do, and you even call the extra point and 2-point conversions that they've put on film. There's got to be a dozen different looks that they've run. So how much practice time are you going to put in to look at all that stuff? It gets to be a long week.
That tackle by Nolan Light, I believe, on the sideline. PEM's going to start this drive at their own 37, I believe, 38-yard line. We'll see if they can do what they did on their first couple drives of the game, where they were able to put together 2-3 first downs. They even got inside Stewartville, 5-yard line before they fumbled the 4th down snap. So Henricks under center, 3 running backs behind him. They're going to hand that one off to up the middle to Nolan Ford. I believe that was Carson Jansen. No, Zeke Spencer. Zeke Spencer, just a fantastic year for the junior linebacker, stepping in for Zippy, Caleb Jansen. You're talking about a guy that had 23 tackles coming into this game, 1 tackle for loss, 1 forced fumble, 6'3", 200 pounds. He runs a 4.78 40, but just one of the hardest hitters, if not the hardest hitter on our football team. 2nd down and 7. Henricks takes the snap. He's going to follow Grainer out there. And Isaac Larson steps up to make the tackle from his defensive back position as Henricks was trying to stretch that one out, stretch it out. Something I haven't seen as much, and maybe it's a quality that Henricks is reading while he's running, but last week against Red Wing, I saw him on that play cut it upfield much earlier. Tonight, it seems like he keeps trying to go to the edge, and I would imagine it's just Stewartville's speed and their ability to fill in that inside lane that he keeps having to push it out further and further.
That and just having the 5'4" look here that he's facing, there's just not a lot of open gaps.
And it seems like our defensive ends are just riding that blocker and just trying to set that edge and trying to make him cut, and he just can't get around it.
Yeah.
So here it is, 3rd down and about 6. They're going to pitch that one outside. This one's Nolan Ford from that middle running back position, and Grayson Schneider wraps him up and takes him down at the 36-yard line. So it's going to be 4th down and 3, and we see some guys coming off the sideline. I wonder if this will be another PEM punt. It looks like it. The tough part is, Coach, like you talked about, so many guys playing not only 2 ways, but also special teams.
Yeah.
Henricks rarely comes off the field. You talk about Dietrich rarely comes off field. Grainer, I mean, he's running all over the place.
Well, when we even look at the sideline across the way here, there's probably 15 extra players over there, and looking at it, the Stewartville sidelines, we got triple that. So it's a numbers game as well.
So it looks like PEM's packing in the middle to try to protect their punter. Much better snap than the last one. Dietrich's going to get this one off. Goes off the side of his foot. It's going to bounce right about the 43-yard line. Hoot's going to catch this one, though. He's going to try to use his speed to get to the outside. I thought he would have taken a PEM sideline. Now he heard me, and now he's going to. And now it's just one man to beat. Oh, he makes a miss, and Dylan Hoot provides all the electricity Stewartville needs at Schaefer Field with that punt return. He started to cut it up, and then he said, you know what, that sideline does look pretty good. He uses that incredible 4.4 speed to just outrun everybody, Coach.
He just put his foot in the ground and came to a complete stop, and then got back on the same track that he just stopped from. So a tremendous punt return. He's electric when he gets the ball in his hands from that punt return. And you know, he's had so close, and there we get finally paid off there in the end. That's nice.
Yeah, even last week I think he almost took one to the house. He was caught at about the 5-yard line. There, Dietrich was the last guy to try to stop him, and great footwork by Hoot. Made a miss. Went the last 10, 15 yards, and Coach May is going to be happy with that. Special teams play of the week probably for the Tigers. So the Tigers now up 41-0 with 45 seconds to go in the third quarter. Appreciate all of you tuning in on Stewartville Activities on YouTube for this broadcast. Also want to give a big shout out to Kurt Hughes, Activities Director. Tech Ed guy that's helping us out. Also the boys soccer coach. I can't believe I'm blanking right now.
Oh, Chris Squeasley.
Chris Squeasley,
yeah,
thank
sorry.
you.
I was
Chris
thinking of the girls'
Squeasley,
head coach.
for setting up the iPad, getting us all squared away. Todd Lechtenberg on the camera, and obviously Coach Aaron Meyer for putting up with me for this your third season, correct, Coach?
I think it is,
Third season. In the Dan Simmons broadcast booth, the guy that started it all out, streaming well before Huddle came along, well before anybody got their cameras set up. He was the originator, and I unofficially named the Dan Simmons broadcast booth, but maybe someday it'll be officially named that.
Well, you hung the flag, so I feel like it's official now.
That's right. It's like planting your flag on another country or something.
Yep.
Speaking of naming rights, I do want to give it, not that anybody out there would know, but Jeff Whitney at Rochester Mayo High School is getting the stadium named after him tonight.
Nice.
Longtime activities director. He was the athletic activities director when I was there as an athletic trainer. Couldn't have worked for a better guy. Just outstanding guy. He was the hockey coach. He was a student and a hockey player at one point. Oh my goodness. 34 slowed him down. I'll get you a name there. Eli Shy. And then a few guys coming on to finish it off. Peyton English was the guy that finished it off, and you still see English out there. We're starting to see a few guys rotate in now as Stewartville's up 41 points with 41 seconds to go in the third quarter. 45. Carter Dick is out there now at one of the linebacker positions to match up with Zeke Spencer. Mickey Height and Peyton English are on the outside linebacker positions. Bancroft, Hatz, Doobie, Goodman, and Schneider, though, all still up front. So here I said they were mixing them in. I believe Carter Dick is the only guy that's mixed in with the ones, but I would imagine we're going to start to see a little bit more come out with each subsequent drive here.
Yeah, sometimes as a coach, this gets to be the hardest part when you're making sure you got 11 guys on the field and who's coming on and who's going off. It gets to be a little messy.
Grayson Schneider just smoked the running back out of the backfield. That was Grainer, sorry. They handed him off the power left side, and Schneider just came right down the line of scrimmage.
Well, he's had a tremendous night tonight. He's made so many plays.
And with 15 seconds left, that is going to be the end of the third quarter. Coach Aaron Meyer and I are going to step away for just a little bit, get a drink of water, and we'll be back for fourth quarter action. Stewartville leading 41-0. We are back here at Schaefer Field. Stewartville leads it going into the start of the fourth quarter. Stewartville leads it 41-0. PEM has the ball. It's 2nd down and 9 at their own 28-yard line. They're going to hand that one, I believe, off right up the middle to Nolan Ford. He dives forward, gets about 2. Following that big center for them, Carson Hines. Henricks getting the play. It's going to be 3rd down and 7. I can't remember. What is running clock? Is it?
I think it's 35 to
35?
nothing. Yeah, 35
So we
point
should have
lead.
running clock
Yep.
for the rest of this game. Well, unless PM's able to put a drive together here on 3rd down. Henricks is going to pass this one. And Ridge Hats!
There he is.
Montana's favorite Tiger! Sacks Henricks in the backfield. As he is a big body, destructing some blocks. Old 77, he's pumped up. Oh, he says, feed me. He is probably hungry. He's a big boy. Heather's grocery bill. I'd hate to see that.
It's time, yep. Great play. Getting to the quarterback and then finishing it off.
What a play there on 3rd down and 6 to drive him back. 4th down and 11. And Dietrich will be back to punt. And I think the smartest thing, well, we got a new returner here. I wish he'd turn a little bit so I could see. It's 20-something. 26, Karsten Roeder. Is that how you say it?
Raider.
Raider, thank you. He's going to take that straight up the field. And it looks like, just looking to see if the ones are coming back out. It looks like a little bit of a mixture.
So I think a lot of times people question, like, why aren't the subs coming in? But keep in mind, the starters got to play 2 quarters last Friday, and then they sat the rest of the game. And here in a more competitive game and a team that's definitely fighting still, you got to get your starters in there. You know, you're planning on trying to make a playoff run. You got to give these guys some time, and a lot of the other guys have games later in the week, you know, or early next week. So it's hard. I get it, and they are going to sub here, but
They just went to the bullpen, coach.
Yep. I just know I was always kind of questioned on that. When is the right time, and when do you do it? It's, as a coach, you're kind of like, well.
Even like last week, it was 57-0 at halftime. But Coach Muller has been steadfast ever since I can remember starting to talk to him on Tuesdays with Muller. He says, our starters will play the first half.
Right,
We
absolutely.
will play the first half hard. They worked all week. They deserve the right to compete for at least one half and usually one drive into the 3rd quarter.
Correct,
And then we'll make our decision, regardless of the score. So for people saying, oh, you should have pulled them out when we were up 40-0 in the 2nd quarter. No, not necessarily. They play hard for sure the first half, if not the first drive. Pete Cheddar now will be the quarterback. He's going to hand that one off to Simon Emanuel, who had a big week last week. And look at this. He's going to start it out pretty hot himself as he gets across the 35-yard line. If I'm not mistaken, brother to Haley Lewis.
Correct, yes.
Wow. Talk about an incredible athlete for
True.
Stewartville.
Yeah.
Soccer, leading goal scorer. Basketball, incredible.
Yeah.
Track and field, her best sport.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I think she went to college to play soccer, but had some issues with her hamstring or something.
Yep.
So sad to see that. But just in terms of natural athletic ability, Haley Lewis is at or near the top. As Emmanuel's going to get that one off the left side. Good hip movement. Makes the guy miss. Look at him. 2 carries and, probably 20 yards.
And you can see his ability to stop and start quickly. He's got good vision. Another tremendous athlete that we're going to get to see in the coming years.
Last week, 5 carries for 73 yards against Lake City in that second half action. We'll try to get you some other numbers. On the far side, number 3, Brody Buckmeyer. On the near side's number 4, Sawyer Wood. Like we said, Pete Cheddar is the quarterback with number 41, Simon Emanuel, who's run the last 2, and I would imagine he's going to get another one. Carter Dick comes back in the H-back position. Simon Emanuel makes a guy miss in the backfield, dives forward. He picks up about, I would say, 4 yards as Stewartville continues to move the ball on the ground. Big Cats, 55. Let's try to get you some of these guys. Ethan Monty, 83 is out there. Cody Carlin. And Caitlin's my favorite Carl in there too, so sorry, Cody. 74 is out there. Carson Jansen now at left tackle. We had a Jansen at left tackle last year. I believe 67's at left guard. I must have read that wrong. I don't see a 67 on the roster. Look at that, a sweep to Buckmeyer. He's trying to throw some guys around and make guys miss. It was 57, Tommy Lofgren. 75, Jacob Billings is filling in there. He's a sophomore. 73, Everett Ness. So those are your big cats up front. Some big bodies there.
More good kids, too. Just when you listed off the names that are out there right now, just a bunch of good hard workers.
Peyton English in the backfield with Pete Cheddar. Now, we saw him bust off a huge run against Cassie Manorville. He had like 1 carry, 40 yards, and a touchdown. So he has the ability to take it to the house every time he touches the ball. And when Coach Muller talks about him, Cheddar's going to throw this one. It's a screen pass, and he's got the big cats out in front of him. And Peyton English is going to look to try to score, but great job by PEM. Try to get you a number there. Number 8 for PEM, Connor Lee with the tackle. Boy, it looked like English had a path to the end zone, but Lee, great closing speed. I believe he was playing the linebacker position as PEM is also filtering in a few guys. You still see Hendricks out there. You see Dietrich.
And how about the twos coming in here and running the screen that the exact screen game that we were looking for earlier.
And they did a great job. Good timing. Cheddar got the depth that he needed, got it over the top. Peyton English and Big Cats out front. So now Simon Emanuel in the backfield behind Cheddar. On the near side is Sawyer Wood. They're going to hand that one off to Emanuel on the left side. He's going to try to cut back inside of Buckmeyer's block. And he gets about to the 2-yard line with 6:14 to go, running clock, 41-0 Stewartville. We got Leslie Kundert warming up down here, Coach. Oh, if we get in the end zone.
He's ready.
My goodness, I would love to see a Leslie Kundert extra point. Just replay of that state championship extra point after, I believe it was the Tegan Malone long touchdown pass.
Yes.
Gosh.
I'll never forget the big screen at the bank had Taryn Conlon and zoomed in, and just Taryn's face of how excited he was for Leslie. It was so much
Buckmeyer
fun.
in motion. They're going to fake the jet sweep. Emmanuel to the left side, and he's going to get in easily with a great play call by the chess master, Garrett Muller. Puts his Stewartville Tigers in a position to score another one. 47-0, 5:32 to go in the game. And 32's got his kicking shoe on. Leslie Kundert, one of the favorite players in Tiger Nation, heading out there to try to put another point on the board. Jace Klug is going to be out there to hold for him, trying to give him the best opportunity to succeed at this point. You saw Klug on the Parker Wong in last extra point attempt, had a high snap, was able to get it down. I love that. Klug pats him on the back, trying to give him that last bit of encouragement. The student section is on their feet, just ready for this. Here's the snap, here's the hold. Leslie Kundert gets it up in the air and just misses to the left. But great to see him get an opportunity, and you love to see how his teammates pick him up there. Luna's patting him on the head. Jace Klug, his holder. What a guy.
Yes, I have Leslie in class right now, and he just loves football more than you can possibly imagine. So it's fun to see him get a chance out there, go out there and do what he does best and take a rip at an extra point.
There's Lincoln Doobie picking him up out the sideline. Caleb Bancroft, he might be going back to the net to get some extra kicks in. It looks like it.
He knows there might be another one in the future here.
He's got the kicking team. Maybe he's going to kick off. That would be cool. He did get to kick off last year.
I think he got one, yeah.
I don't know if Rester is suited up tonight.
I think he might be suited up tonight. I at least saw he was talking with Coach earlier today at lunch.
We'll see who's going to kick this one off. That is Rester out there.
I think it is.
Our
yeah.
goalie. Just a junior. Playing with that soccer team that got to double-digit wins this week with their win over Caledonia. Potentially could host a first-round game in sections. And this will be the guy that you'll see in goal, Brecken Rester. 4 guys on the near side, 6 guys on the far side. Dietrich is going to take that one with Grainer in front of him. Dietrich tries to, oh my God! What a hit there by number 1, Lucas House. He darn near took his head off.
Yeah,
He didn't wrap up. Boy, he hit him hard.
we talk about running through your tackles, and that's certainly what Lucas House did right there. Well, you can see that these guys get so excited when it's their turn on a Friday night, and a lot of these guys have been waiting for it. And when they get their chance to shine, they're gonna do their very best to do so.
It looks like Landon Staudiker is going to be the quarterback now with in the backfield. Fisher Dietrich must be younger brother. Hand off to number 7. That's Joel Ryder. He gets to the outside. Good speed there. And he gets pushed back. Joel Ryder, what a carry there on his first action in the game. Another running back, Connor Lee, who we saw made that good tackle on Peyton English on the last drive at the 5-yard line. I believe he's in there at some point. I don't know if it's tight end or running back. But we're seeing Staudiker under center as Hinrichs. His night is done. Stewartville up 47-0, 4:25 to go as the clock continues to roll here at Schaefer Field. It's going to be a counter this way. They try to jump to his legs. Great tackle there by number 14 for Stewartville, Colin McGill. On the carry for PEM, Fisher Dietrich. Logan, a senior. Fisher, a junior.
Good job there by Sawyer Wood, just taking on the lead block. He dove and tried to bring him down, but it at least slowed the back enough so his teammate could come up and make the open field tackle.
No gain on the play. Staudiker's going to keep this one. And big tackle there by Eli Shy. We've seen him make some special teams plays, and now he's out there on defense.
Shy's a darn good wrestler for the Stewartville Tigers, and what he does best for us in the spring is he's an amazingly good pole vaulter. So it's hard to find good pole vaulters in the world, but Eli Shy is he's a rare breed. He can do it with the best of them.
Eli Shy, I'm going to get he's a junior this year, and right after this play, I'll tell you my Eli Shy story. As they go in motion, they pitch it to the outside. All sorts of pursuit to turn it back in field. And old number 51 comes Carson Goodman to stop that. The sophomore with the big hit. And it's going to be fourth down and about 20, I would say, as PEM's going to punt. But yeah, Eli Shy, sorry, it's like a tongue twister for me for some reason. 2 years ago, I believe he was a freshman, and I was calling a wrestling meet for our wrestling squad here in Stewartville, and he was going against one of the top guys in the conference. And man, that guy was putting him on his back, and he kept fighting and fighting, and like he refused to get pinned. And like I said, the easy way isn't always the right way, and he kept fighting. The hard thing to do was to fight through it. Through the second period, ended up getting tech fault. But I was so impressed with his ability to fight, even down 14-2, 14-3, or whatever it was, that he kept fighting off his back, that I saw him in Subway later that week. And I made a point to go up and tell him, like, hey, I know you came away with a loss, but for me, you gained a ton of respect in your ability to fight through that and just continue to battle. Like, don't ever lose that. And that's when we talk about those life lessons. When things get tough, it's easy just to lay there on, like, and give up. It's harder to fight and keep doing that. And to have that, it's hard to beat somebody that never quits, Coach. That's what I'm getting to.
Oh,
hard to beat
absolutely.
somebody that never quits.
Well, and you just think about all the athletic games and whatnot that you've played in and that I've played in, and you just think about those guys across the way that were like that and how pesky and hard but you gain so much respect for guys like that, that's for sure.
So the best formation in football, I know both teams have 3 timeouts, but with Stewartville leading 47-0 with 1:23 to go in the game, that's going to just take a couple snaps is all we'll need. As Stewartville will extend their win streak to 20 games now, Coach. 20 games. Next week, again at home against Red Wing. Red Wing, a little bit of a struggle for the last several years. They will come into Tiger Nation to try to take on this going to be 6-0 Stewartville team.
Yeah, and Red Wing has a little bit of juice this year. I think they feel good about what they got going over there. So we'll see if they can end of the season here, last couple games, see
It
if they
looks
can
like
put
they
something together.
switched to almost like a Casson Manorville
Yeah.
slash spread slash I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit of
The
a
identity's a little bit.
but it's
question.
definitely a little flex bone, a little bit of
Yeah.
they break it out a little wider maybe than Casson does. But yeah, it'll be some interesting things they do.
So Stewartville, as the clock ticks down, has started the yes chant. They're going to line it up with 22 seconds to go, but that's all she wrote. 47-0 is going to be the final score here in Stewartville. I think the big news of the night, 3 touchdowns for Parker Wangen as he sets the school's all-time scoring record as he passes an unbelievable player in Josh Burai. We saw PEM, though, give them all sorts of credit. The way they played those first 16 minutes, I think you got to take your hat off to Coach Winger over there on the PEM sideline and his boys who are playing shorthanded.
Yeah, you always know when at this point, 20 games in a row, Stewartville Tigers are going to get the other team's best, and they certainly got a good version of the Plainview Elgin Millville Bulldogs tonight. Hats off to Plainview for how hard they played. As you mentioned with Eli Shy, they kept getting up and just fighting the whole night. So,
yeah, PEM, they're going to go on the road to take on, you want to talk about another tough defense, they got Pine Island next week.
Yep.
Pine Island, if my vote didn't go to Garrett Muller for Coach of the Year every single year regardless of record, if it didn't go to him, I think Mitch Schiltz over there in Pine Island is very worthy as well. The way he's turned around a 2-win team in Pine Island, and now I think he's sitting at about 4-1, maybe 5-1 after this week. I'm not really sure, but that's who PEM will have to face. Blake Schiltz is very good. That Pine Island defense is very underrated. I like what they got going on there, but PEM will have a test. Like we said, Stewartville will be back at home against Red Wing. Coach Aaron Meyer and I will be up in the booth calling that game, hopefully, unless they lock the doors on us after this week. Who knows, Coach? Looking forward to it. I'm sure that Stewartville will come out of here, even though 47-0. Coach Muller always says, it's not always, when you look at the film, it's not always as good as it looks, but it's not always as bad as it looks either. You just got to be happy to go away. We're too spoiled. It's 47-0, and we feel like we didn't play our best game.
but I feel like they're going to know, like, okay, some of the unsportsmanlike stuff, they can
Sure.
clean that up. And even though we found out that one of them was just holding the ball up as they crossed the goal line, there's not a lot of, you're not trying to be maliciously crude or rude in doing that, but just some of that little stuff that they can get a little better at. And I mean, there's just always, as a coach, you're always nitpicking and trying to figure out what to get better at. And that's one thing that I will say from being up here the first week of the season, watching Wasika, think how impressive this team is now versus maybe where they were at that point. And they were impressive then, but
Absolutely.
we're just cleaning things up and everybody just looks comfortable in their roles that they have, and everything's just meshing and coming together here at the right time. So,
and the defense, again, outstanding, puts another donut on the board. So come Monday, Darlin Bakery, preheat your ovens now, because you're going to have about, 3 dozen donuts I think they bring to the school for our defense to eat. Great job by the Gold Rush, Coach Alex Hain, and then the offense putting up 47 points on some electric plays. Special teams, Coach May got a big punt return for a touchdown by Dylan Hoot. Finally got him in the end zone for a special teams play. Good to see that. But that's going to do it here at Schaefer Field. Stewartville is going to win this one over the PEM Bulldogs. Stewartville moves to 6-0. PEM falls to 2-4. Like I said, PEM next week on the road at Pine Island. Stewartville will be back at Schaefer Field to try to keep that win streak alive as they will take on the Red Wing Wingers. For Coach Aaron Meyer on the other mic, you got Todd Lechtenberg on the camera. I'm Adam Peterson. I want to say to everybody tuning in, thanks for your support of Stewartville Tiger football. And Dan, if you're out there listening, I hope we made you proud.